Probably saw that title.
You, I see it up in here early, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we live. We see her. He said, Cam says, I'm here to learn a little something. Damn, they in here early. It says we about to have one here.
All right, let's
What's
get
up,
it cracking.
what's up, brotherly love? 215, that's Philly, ain't no 215. What's that? That's that's the South, ain't it? No, that's Philly. 215 is Philly. Okay, I'm confusing. 251 is I think Alabama. 215 is Philly. What's going on, Philly? Brotherly love, city of brotherly love. Hey, what's going on, yo? Yeah, we up in here, yo. We gonna talk some shit, but we gonna get real silly in this motherfucking night. We gonna get real silly in this motherfucking night, man.
Absolutely.
What's going on, Shane? I don't know.
What's
You
going
guys.
on, man?
Yeah, man.
I'm just living.
At some point, I know Ian is gonna jump in here at some point, man. But, you know. So, for those who follow me on Facebook, I'm gonna pull up some of these screenshots that we've been going through, man. We're gonna start with one of these. Cam, I know this is gonna bother you a little bit, but we gotta I don't mean to laugh though, but you know what? Before I go there, you know, I'm sure that everybody has seen this picture, right? By now, right? So let me
Yep.
let me big this up. Let me make this a little bigger. So everybody has seen this picture nowadays, right? By now, right? So, you know, this is just another one of, you know, Lizzo's shock antics, right? And, you know, there's a lot of defending you know, that people do of Lizzo. Everybody hear me correct? I see it says mic check. So let me know if y'all can't hear me, if y'all can hear me good. But yeah, this is another one. This is Lizzo's latest shock antic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, how long from now will we see this or this? You know, you do the dumb shit, then you cry, and then people come to your defense and we feel sorry for you. Then it's back to shit like this. You know what I'm saying? See, something I posted, I'd say what, 2020, a year ago. Because, you know, while she's going, you know, doing the BBW body positivity fight, there's this woman here, right? Now let's talk about this woman, Shane. Now I'm gonna say this, man. This is what I'm gonna say, just to set it off. And before we get into, you know, the main topic of the evening, right? We're gonna talk about a few things. This is Gabby Sabide. Most of you call her Precious, right?
Yep. She ain't hurting nobody.
Precious is two things that black men talk about a lot. She's heavy and she dates interracially. But if you notice, nobody talks shit about Gabby. And that's because, yo, she's quiet, she does her thing, and she keeps it moving. She's not doing shit to spite dudes. She's not throwing it in our faces. She's not pushing any, you know, positivity movement. She's like, listen, I don't want none of that smoke. I'm here for my check and I'm going home. When she shows up, yo, ain't no campaigns against this woman right here for everything that she is not, you know, in reference to, I guess, you know, what black men claim to be like looking for. You understand what I'm saying? She don't trash nothing. Yo, she just does her thing and she keeps it moving. What's
She's
your
just
opinion on
chill.
that?
She's just a chill person. I mean, I've seen her in a few interviews, and she's just chill. You know, she ain't talking about nobody. She's not backbiting. She keeps it professional. She's just doing her thing, and it's like, okay, she's dating interracial. No one really cares. You know, it's like good for her. She's going down the road of life, and she, like you said, she's not throwing it in nobody's faces.
Yeah. So just because you ain't who we're attracted to, don't mean we're going to shit on you. Just don't shoot first. As long as you don't shoot first, you're good. You're good. And she's a perfect example. I see you, D. Scott. I see you. She's a perfect example of somebody who doesn't shoot first. We ain't coming for y'all. Y'all coming for us. And then you tell us what we need to like, what we should like, and who we got to deal with in order to be loyal, like all these rules and who we got to rock with. And meanwhile, You can
Mhm.
rock with whoever you want, right?
Yeah,
So
like um
mhm.
Serena Williams, what her deal, I guess, when her thing was announced, the first thing she had to say was, black men ain't never did this for me, and you know what I mean? And it's like, did anybody ask her about that? I mean, or was she just being asked about, you know, her relationship in general? Like, how's things going? Oh, black men don't do nothing for me. That's why I'm with him. And you know what I mean? It's like it seems like a lot of times in the
Is that
you
what she
see
said?
she says something along that effect. I have to actually get the receipt about that, but she did bring up the fact on how black men ain't never treated her good or something like that. And
That's
it's like, why
bullshit.
does that usually have to be the go-to every time a black woman dates out that's in the public eye?
She
Why can't they just comment on just the general nature of what they have in front of them? You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
mean,
And
they
I think
accuse us of
they
that.
got left.
They
Was it
accuse
her that got left because they got tired of being used as like a proxy to bash black men or make black men jealous or something like that?
the funny thing is, Serena has been pumped and dumped by various non-black men, with Brett Ratner being a notable example. Now, aside from that, Common proposed to Serena and she turned her down. Okay. Now
Mhm.
Common is with Tiffany Haddish, and Tiffany Haddish come out and say she ain't really feeling dude like that. Yo, I don't know how you think it's cool to just come out and just throw your dude to the wolves and shit, right? He's like, yo,
Mhm.
I wasn't really feeling him at first, but he all right now. It's kind of like what Beyonce moms did to her little dude. Like, yeah, he ain't all that, but I'll rock with him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'll take it. So I want to touch on this other situation, right? Hold on. Let me pull
Alright.
it up. And you familiar with this. So, and this
Oh,
is yeah, so this is the type of thing we talk about all the time. Beautiful and powerful black corporate lawyer killed by the thug she was dating. Cam, this one is for you. So, for the y'all never hold black men accountable crowd, right? Um, so 31-year-old Courtney Cox. Courtney Cox. Wow, that's a famous name. Had it all. She was a successful corporate litigator at the powerhouse law firm of Paul Hastings in Atlanta. She was beautiful, well respected, made a lot of money, and had a very promising future. Went to law school. Your parents put you through law school, right? Spent all this money, and you couldn't keep away from this guy. So
mm.
this is the guy you with. So people, it kills me. People like yesterday, I'm debating my man. He talking about, you attract what you are. This is a blatant example of that being untrue.
Yep.
Okay, that being untrue. We've said time and time again that our women on every level seek the thug. We've said it.
Mhm.
We've said it. Nobody believes us. No matter how much proof we post, they lie and act like it's not true. Okay. Not only the hood rats go after street dudes, women on every level and every class go after these dudes. It's just facts. So here it is. So Courtney was sadly killed yesterday by a man whom she'd been dating a few weeks ago. And MTO has learned that Jarvis is being described by people who knew him on social media as a thug or street dude. It's not clear why a high-powered lawyer would want to date a thug, but sometimes decisions of the heart don't make sense. So, according to police, Jarvis murdered Courtney inside of her luxury high-rise apartment in Peachtree, on Peachtree in Midtown Atlanta. Right? In Midtown Atlanta, right? So, MTO learned that police say Jarvis shot and killed Courtney inside her Atlantic House Midtown luxury apartment sometime after 3 in the morning. It appears that the suspect was inside the apartment, no forced entry, but Jarvis didn't just kill her. The alleged thug got into a deadly shootout with police. Deadly shootout with police. So that means this wasn't no, oh, I couldn't tell if he was a thug or not, blah, blah, blah. A shootout with the police? Come on, man. Come on, man. Tell me, oh, yeah, first offense, well, we didn't know he would be this way. Let's stop playing.
Man, I used to see this type of stuff all the time when I was younger. All the time.
Now, and let's make it clear. We are not celebrating this woman's death or anything like that. But in a era where all we hear is black men don't protect black women, all this good shit that we hear about these street types, right? They are very specific when they're praising these guys, and then when these guys do what they do not specify what kind of black men did it to them. They protect the thug by saying black men did it to me, instead of making it specific to what kind of guy is doing what they're doing. These guys that be having these criminal histories and shit like that, they leave out those details, right? Lee Yang says Common needs to date out. Oh man.
Yeah, I'll take it a step further as far as the irony concerning this whole narrative of black women dating thugs. It's funny how, and you and I had talked about this before, they will run and jump into something head first with a guy that's extremely dangerous. And they know these factors ahead of time.
Yeah.
But they will treat an average guy or a decent guy like he's the one to be feared. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, I can't date him. What if he's an axe murderer? Or what if it's too good to be true? You know what I mean? Or either, and I mean, just my experience, I've had women that shown some sort of interest, feel the need to brandish weapons just to show me how capable they are of defending themselves. And I'm like, okay, you didn't have this energy when Thuggo was running around, but for some reason you're in all this fear that you gotta show how you got weapons in different parts of the house, and it's just weird. It's just weird how they want to treat the average guy like he's the big enemy, but they will go out on a limb and ride or die for someone that can potentially ruin their whole life or take their life.
Yeah, head first into the thug street dude relationships. But yeah, they practice extreme caution, and they raise the bar of entry. Like, there's all this shit you got to do to get them interested, this and that. Take them out on a million dates. You got to prove this, prove that. All of this shit that you got to prove. When you're the regular average dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling that Avatar. Yeah, so Bit of Truth Show says he's an alpha male to her. All right. So Mad Black Masculinist says, so tired of being lumped in with predatory men. So Cortez says, yeah, they call nice men creepy, but are comfortable with actual creepy men. And also, these are the guys, 9 times out of 10, that'll be on your daughter. Okay, these guys says, I think Lynn was that skinny ass. What he said? WW. See, when I see WW, I think white woman. Was with that skinny ass white woman from Jurassic Park. Oh, okay. He was with that skinny ass white woman from Jurassic Park a few years ago. Yeah, I'm not sure. It says, I knew a guy. Knew a guy went to jail for grape, and females still like them. Oh. Oh well, yeah.
That doesn't. I mean, nothing's surprising.
Nice code word. Nice code word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the white guy was creepy, black women say they are shy. See, there's so many like attributes that are acceptable in other men that are not acceptable in black men. Black men have to fit a certain criteria.
You got to be a superhero.
Yeah,
you got to be more than a superhero. I mean, I've seen it plenty of times where a black woman will run after a dusty, broke white dude, but look down their nose at a black guy that's doing way better than they are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So while we on that note, let's pull this up, right? So this is these are some of the posts. What I love to do, instead of just saying what women say and what women do, I like to post proof, and that's why the internet age, the internet era is my favorite era. Because when I was a teenager and I was saying this stuff, everybody was looking at me crazy. Now it can't be denied. It's like when black people were telling the world, hey, the police are doing shit to us. And then people were like, we don't believe you. You're doing shit to deserve it. And now it's on tape. Well, there she goes. Ashley says, I want a retired hood nigga. A nigga that's over street shit is just trying to be an overall better person. So I want a good nigga that ain't in the streets, like retired street nigga, because I don't want to be put in situations where I'm worried about safety. Because what? Because DTM, that's dead. But if it ain't a hood nigga, it's a boring nigga. See, now I want a retired hood nigga. I want a real hood nigga. I'm tired of these retired hoods.
You know, this sounds just as dumb as if a guy was running around talking about, I'm looking for a baby mama that got a high body count and too many kids for me to take care of.
But my thing is, when you look at the stats and you see, okay, black women are the highest likely to be killed by a spouse and all of that type of stuff, and what they use that to say is black men in general are, highly likely to kill their women. What they're leaving out is the who the women prefer,
right?
Who they go after, right? Who they go after, who they choose, and not only that, but that they start a lot of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a dangerous combination of you chase a killer, then you poke the bear, then you fuck with the killer, you ain't going through shit, fuck your mama, all of that shit, right? You go to the hood nigga with the attitude and expect him, a killer, not to do shit to you. I'm trying to understand how this makes sense. You expect nothing to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? This shit is crazy. So hold on. Let's pull another one up. This is a little different. This one is a little different. I don't know if y'all seen this one. My name is damn near in front of the shit. You can't see the whole shit. So my boyfriend, I have sex like once a month. It's not like I don't like sex, but I don't want our relationship to be centered around sex every time we meet. I love him very much, so I need to set standards for him to see value in me, but deep down I crave sex every day. So recently I've been seeing this guy. I don't love him, but I don't see my future with him. So I feel comfortable having sex with him every day.
Damn. You know what? This is a slap in the face right here.
It's more like a kick in the ass.
That too. It's it's so many words. So many words. I mean, this tells me right now that she probably has a decent dude and she's just unwilling to give anything, which is typical. You know what I mean? A lot of these modern women, they want to take as much as they can while giving as little to nothing in return as possible. But they will invest all they have in, like I said, a dude that has no future. Has no future. In fact, I mean, she admitted it herself. She can't see past having sex with the guy every single day, and it's a guy that there's no commitment to.
Yeah. So a little off topic. I want to, because lately, we all know what's going on with Dave Chappelle and all this drama.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, I don't know if you can see this, right? Hold on. Let me see. I gotta get my name up out the way, man. Some of this stuff is blocking. So basically, this here is a case where let me show you. Let me see. So what happened with this is trans woman who sued salon workers for refusing to wax her balls loses court case. That's what this is. You can't see it. It's under there, but that's what this is. Right? That's what this is. You know? See, black women and many white women love that physical role play shit, but smile when their feet are off the ground. Whoa. Whoa. These chicks are really silly as fuck. Yeah, well, you know, if you could be a dude for, I can't even say a day. If you could be a dude for 6 months, Cam, you come out with a few epiphanies.
Man, I've seen it. It's happened a few times where women would like experiencing what men experience. I think it happened once on 2020 where a woman went under makeup and everything to disguise herself as a guy. And it was really eye-opening to see that, men are not as privileged as she thought. And then I saw it again. I think it was on YouTube. I had to search far and wide to find the video. But there was this girl. She actually started a dating profile, with her friends disguised as a guy because she thought guys got it easy and inboxes be blown up or whatever. And then she went out there trying to connect with men online, and she didn't get nothing after a whole week. And it affected her mental so bad that she was actually crying because she ain't never had to deal with rejection, even though it was just an experiment.
So this is what I was going to say about a good 5 minutes ago. We was talking about the lawyer. Hybristophilia is something that I think that black women in particular deal with, like very, very, very on an extreme level. Hybristophilia is a sexual attraction to criminals. You can look this up, okay? Hybristophilia is spelled just like that. It's an attraction to people who have committed crimes, egregious shit. You know what I mean? Like, not just murders, but like all type of shit. There are women who are actually turned on, by guys who have done some ill shit. And, so when we see these guys, and the women that are attracted by them, you look at Prison Bay and, anything that's somehow, attached to any sort of criminal behavior, that's what they go for. Somebody's just telling me, well, it's the circle of abuse. That's bullshit, because all of the women that were after Prison Bay didn't know who the fuck he was other than it was his mugshot. There's things about women that turn us off, based on choices and things like that. And I'm not saying men don't make bad choices in women, because they do. But this is it's a financial hit for us, but you die. you die. Understand, if a man makes a bad choice in a woman, the most he might have to do is spend some money. His bank account or his check will get hit, or he might lose some assets or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because men are generally not stupid enough to run after a woman that'll put his life in jeopardy.
But women risk their lives choosing the wrong guy. And we can't tell them anything. And as much protection as we're supposed to do, we're not going to rescue you. That's not protection. That's not, coming to rescue you. You want a savior. You want a rescuer. You want an avenger. That's after the fact. That's not protection. So I've been that.
You can even tell a woman blatantly, hey, this dude is bad news. And a lot of times you'll get met with vitriol for even trying to tell them anything, because they feel like they're grown and they don't have to listen to nobody.
And you hate it. You hate it.
Mm-hmm.
You a hater. All right. So I've been that other dude not knowing she was in a relationship many times. He said, this man sounds hardworking, but she doesn't want to submit on his terms, only her terms. She's going to leave her man for the guy she sees no future with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It says, hybristophilia is worse than pedophilia because it creates all these sickos. Real talk. I wonder if women understand, right? And I got a woman in the comment section. I wanted to hear this, right? Genetics is a thing, and when you breed with men with mental deficiencies, you create children with those same deficiencies. So what's happening in our culture is the reproduction of bottom feeder niggas, bottom feeder sperm, bottom feeder genetics. If you think that's not a thing, I got some shit to tell you. Okay? He said you might be talking about a vid by Alexander Grace. I don't know who that is. There are a few articles out there where women transition to men and admit the struggles of a man. I was going to bring that up also. I read one of those articles and I sent it to a few women because I tell women all the time, you don't want to be us. That's why all these dudes try and be y'all.
Yeah, there ain't no privilege on this side. Just work. Just work.
Yeah, an attraction to death and danger in general. They got this. They got this fantasy of this Bonnie and Clyde, Luke and Laura. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if this generation knows who Luke and Laura is, but
I mean, they get off on stuff like that. I mean, I knew a woman in college that was like that. It was like she was going out of her way to just run up in the hood and cause problems and get all this attention. And I'm like, you came here to go to school, not to be in a fucking rap video.
So D. Scott says drama keeps him wet, but always turns many men away. The overwhelming response from men when you ask them what are they looking for in a relationship is peace. Peace. And peace is boring to a lot of women. It's boring. They like excitement. They like the drama. That's why, there's soap operas and there's scandal. And, the more fuckery and turmoil, the more women are into it. Is proof of that in books. The books that they buy, the magazines that they read a lot of gossip and tabloids and all of that shit is for women, right? It's for women. It's not for us. You understand what I'm saying? Let me pull up a little bit more of these screenshots. I see you, Cortez. I'm about to pull up your comment in a second.
The more free they are, the more chaos they gravitate towards.
So I don't know if you saw this. So this is the struggle of a woman, right? So
oh yeah, I saw this years ago.
Yeah, basically they got the women racing the men, and the women have clothesline, drying clothes, stove, ironing board, and washing machine, and what's that in the background there?
Basically household chores for the most part.
Household chores. So you telling me that the thing that's holding women back from success is household chores? Chores?
Is that all?
You telling me those women in those business suits can't afford to pay someone to do those things? That's what's holding you back? Successful women have nannies, housekeepers, and shit of that nature. Right? You're not doing that stuff for us. It's a choice. I mean, I don't know a dude that doesn't do all of that shit. I don't know any grown man in 2021 that doesn't cook and clean or whatever, does domestic shit to some degree. Let's read some more of these comments. Crazy thing is Prison Bae didn't even have a fine girl before he went to prison. He had a fat girl. Oh, that I didn't know. All my children. General Hospital. So I believe people who are high bristophiliac should be labeled insane. Yeah, they need therapy, man. You can't look for the killer, and when you find them, you blame everybody. So
I think people with mental issues to that degree to where it's like they just gravitate towards destructive stuff, I honestly don't think they could be helped. That's just my opinion.
All right, so we're gonna come off the screenshots for a second because now we're gonna bring in a female guest.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's going on? What's going on? Talk to us, because I know. Listen, I know somebody gonna say at some point, Marcus, you only allow pygmies, right? Now, the funny thing is that any of these chicks that got a different opinion of than what I'm talking about, they don't want to come in here, man. And I ain't gonna bite your head off, but I'm just saying your shit got to make sense though. So, Keena, what's going on?
Hi, Marcus. Hello,
No,
Shane.
you can't
Hey,
talk to
how
me
are
like that. There's people. There's people here. Now I'm fucking with you. So, talk to me about Black women's allergy to accountability.
How do I
Where to
want to
start? Where to
approach
start? Right?
this?
Where you want to start at?
Okay. All right, let me close the laptop. Let me get good and comfortable for this conversation.
Yeah, roll a blunt up.
All
Roll a
right.
blunt up.
Let me turn this on. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. Black women
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
are allergic to accountability for the simple fact that they thrive or hold on to a non-existent paradigm. They allow themselves to be disillusioned. And what I mean by that is as such. Um, Black women seem to think that they are the gods that walk the earth. And again, darlings, listen, you may feel you're a god, a goddess, all of these things. But last I checked, you need a man to have a baby, right? So, seems like creation on that part by yourself is non-existent. Did you once used to do it? Possibly, but that's not now, right? You can't do it now. Also, they want to be identified, right? Separately and have their own identity, but that comes in from the scope of feminism that they don't understand, has plagued them in their livelihood. And the lack of accountability is because of that Black woman, Black mother narrative, as Marcus, you always so eloquently seem to bring up, which is true. Even when you was a quack fiend, mama, you always was a Black queen, mama. So they have this ideation that no matter what they do or how they do it, they still consider royalty, so that way whatever it is that they do or have done should be swept under the rug and pushed off to the side, which is so far from the truth. And then they feel as though that the narrative of the Black man is less than or don't have, or they equate white wealth as being something of attribution, which if they truly understood the wealth belonged to them and the Black man prior to the white man knowledge. But it's neither here nor there. We're not going into a history lesson, but I mean, Black women know that stuff. You can't go around with all this learning of what Black women once did and or done without acknowledging her place beside the Black man, and also understanding the Black man and being that backbone for the Black man, to be his support, to help him execute whatever the mission is that he is to execute. But the Black man can't protect you if you're standing beside him. If you won't stand behind him, how can he guide and or protect you? Y'all out here bird boxing and whatnot, thinking y'all know where to go because Sandra Bullock got in a whole boat with some kids and made it across the water. But what you don't know, if you didn't read the book, is that somebody left the door open and one of the spirits came in and people went blind, so they cut each other's eyes out. So next time, and I said all of that to say, you follow the provisions of the masculine. Does that mean that you follow that of all? No. But one who serves his purpose to be a leader, allow him that room to lead. And stop telling men, especially Black men, what it takes to be a man when you have never had a nut sack, so you don't know what it is to be a man. And I'm going to land my plane there.
This ain't Clubhouse. I'm fucking with you. Dig this, right? This is how I view this. This issue that we have with Black women and accountability. This didn't happen by accident. I I feel like black men contribute a lot to this, especially with simps. I think simps are the worst. I think simps are worse than thugs, actually. Right? And I've always felt that way. Understand, to me, women, especially black women, are the biggest lied to population ever. Like, women believe the things that they believe because they've been lied to, whether it be about by society itself or their mothers or whatever. Okay, and when people do that, they do them a disservice. You understand? They do them a disservice. They put them in danger because women are told that the dangers of the world don't apply to them. All right, they're told that nothing is supposed to happen to them, no matter what. Not, you know, no, whether that it be bad judgment or bad behavior or any of those things. You know, there's this idea that there's no consequences for anything that you do. There's no judgment. There's no, examination. There's none of that. I can wear what I want, say what I want, do what I want, all of these things, and there will be no consequence, reaction, or no effect for the cause, right? And we set them up for failure. We meaning not only just society, Western society, but especially their mothers, right? They tell them these things. We tell them these things, and it's for two things: to number one, protect their feelings, and number two, for pussy. Men lie to women for pussy. These simp dudes, whether it be for pussy or for attention, adoration on the internet, validation from women, for their own masculinity, to feel like a man, you're protecting women's feelings, or you're protecting the image of women, or you're protecting her from reality or consequences of choices, of actions, and it makes a lot of these guys who have nothing else to draw their masculinity from feel like men. So that we often think of, the guy who's abusing women as the guy who, oh, you feel like a man for putting your hands on women. But nah, a lot of men, at any cost, lay their lives on the line for dumb shit that women are doing out here. I think all of us know at least one guy that's doing time, right, for protecting either a girlfriend or a female in their family from a situation that didn't have to be what it ended up being, because either she chose a lunatic or she was being a lunatic. It is statistics that women initiate most of this DV that we see happening. So when we see the woman lose the fight that she started, we call her the victim. They start most of the fights. I never forget sitting on the subway going to Manhattan, and right across from me on that train was a dude just sitting, staring into space, while this woman just berated him in front of me. I'm sitting across. I wanted to slap the shit out of her for him. And she was saying some crazy disrespectful shit to this guy. Crazy disrespectful. And he just sitting there taking it. Now, understand, she is doing that because she is comfortable knowing he's not going to do anything. Men don't do that to another man not expecting a reaction. We expect it. We expect the smoke. Women do not expect the smoke. And when they get the smoke, then they play the victim, and they're actually shocked. Mind you, she'll get away with that with him, and we'll say, well, they know who to fuck with most of the time. Sometimes they get it wrong. You understand? Mercedes Moore, if that's her name, she got it wrong. There's a lot of these women that get it wrong. If they're correct 90 whatever percentile of the time, it's that you know, that 5%, 4% that they end up in the news where they say something crazy or do something crazy, or they just pick a lunatic, possibly like this lawyer, and then you hear about it, and it's like, oh, black men, we got to do better. What you mean we? Who the fuck is we? Who the fuck is we? I don't got no bodies. Shane, you got bodies?
I ain't got no bodies.
I ain't got no bodies. And we see these women do shit to men. We see videos of women beating the shit out of dudes, putting their hands on them, hitting them with the car, beating them with the bumper, and all that type of shit. Then everybody understands, oh, she was mad. We get it. You know?
I got a different take about the accountability thing. I think the root reason why black women are so allergic to accountability is out of fear. And what I mean by fear is they're afraid that they could suffer the same mercilessness that they would impose upon other people that might wrong them. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
That might be a little bit of a shame, but I'm gonna tell you. Check this out. It's the same with children.
Mm-hmm.
You spare the rod, you spoil the child, right? And I'm not saying beat women with rods. In some cases, yes. Okay, yes. Some women need to be beat with rods. But what I'm saying is, it's just like the police. Police will shoot or beat up or drag a man on camera. Not even hidden camera. They'll see you recording them. There's a video on, you know, on the internet where the cop looked right in the camera and said, "Watch this."
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, they know that they're gonna get away with it. If you know that you're gonna get away with it, Bill Burr had a whole routine about. Imagine somebody told you that no matter what you did, nobody could do shit to you. That's a superpower, bro. That's a superpower.
Did you see this video? This happened a while ago. It's this chick, I guess her and two other dudes, they got locked up for killing somebody. They shot and killed somebody. And then when the judge came and handed down the girl's verdict, she had this look on her face like she couldn't believe that she was being charged with anything. And her defense was, I shot the guy. I didn't kill him.
Bro, listen to this. White people have the same shit. Understand, white folks will get into some shit with you, do some shit to you, and then say, oh, I'm gonna call the police, because they are confident that when the cops get there, that the cops
on their side.
be on their side. It's just like the woman in the park that wanted to call the cops on the black dude in Central Park.
Oh, he hit me.
Yeah, confident that when these police get there, they're gonna take her side. These women are no different. Everything in this culture tells them they are right. They believe it. They have a God complex, bro. They have a God complex. And when I hear the black woman is God, right?
Oh, that's
me,
the biggest way
it
to gas
further
someone's
fuels
head up.
that. Huh?
I said that's the biggest way to gas someone's head up is refer to him as a god.
Yeah, but when you tell repeatedly, when you repeatedly tell someone that they won't be held accountable, that they are godly, that they are above you, right? Matter of fact, hold on, let me see if I got this other I got another screenshot for you, right? It's do I have it here? Nope, I gotta drag it in here. It's the remember the one with a kid that his father told him how to conduct himself on the date.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so let me pull that up, right? So
that fallacy shit where he says she's the boss. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so here we go. Right? So 17-year-old son asks his dad if he could go on a date with a young lady from school, and his father's reply is, "That's fine. I want you home absolutely no later than 7:30. Public places only. No homes, no private rooms, no nakedness. Comport yourself as a gentleman, respectful, polite. Cool, cool so far, right? Open
Right.
doors, and here's where it goes left. Offer to pay for everything. Listen way, way more than you speak. She's the boss. You're simply honored. She chose to spend time with your goofy ass. Your job is to be chivalrous, courteous, and kind while simultaneously being protective and strong. You're a man, but moreover, you're my son. Conduct yourself accordingly." Yeah,
Is this like Steve Harvey writing to his son or something like that?
Diego, check this
That
out.
second
Diego.
part was written by a woman.
Either it was written by a woman or a simp. Don't get it twisted. These guys that write stuff like this were raised, right? The same way a lot of the guys that we go back and forth on the internet were raised. You think that a simp won't tell his son some shit like this? Of course. I know guys that would write something like this. Okay? Let's
But
go.
you know what though? It's like if you were to like tell a young man contrary to what this stuff is saying, there's a lot of women that will say you teaching that boy to hate women. So in other words, to teach a young boy to value himself and not devalue himself is synonymous with hating women.
So let me read some of these comments. So these guys says, of course, simps are enablers all day. All right. Cortez says they think white skin is wealth, and that's why they take broke white men. Absolutely. Black skin is associated with poverty.
I don't know
Okay.
where, but
Yeah. So all right. So Cortez says there have been at least 15 videos this year that went viral of black women hitting black men with cars. I need to see some of these because I've only seen one. Right, Lazo, you wrong. You see Lazo, Keena?
what?
What a bat.
But if we could be fully transparent, though, Marcus, to be honest with you, I'm gonna be fairly transparent. Like, there's a video out of, unfortunately, she's white, and there's a gentleman and his friend is in the back, and she says something, and he slaps her in the mouth. And his friend was like, "Boy, I'm so proud of you. You going to jail, but I'm proud of you." But at the same time, it's like women have gotten so far removed.
Is she there? I think she fell out there. We can't hear you.
Think that they can compete with men, or they could be with men, or they have this one-on-one, and they're macho, or they could just be as masculine, as manly, and they cannot. That is the sad part. They think they're equal, and we are not equal to you. Nor should we want to be. You should be respecting the space of the man. Let them have their lane. Stop trying to get in their lane and tell them how to run their lane, and stay in your lane.
You're going in and out. Going in and out.
Some women pop off at the mouth as bait because that's their way to try to take the man down. They're trying to get a reaction.
True, but take this, right? If men responded to all of these, all this female aggression, the way they respond to men, a good amount of that shit would stop. A good amount of it.
Because there would be a healthy fear that if a woman was to pop off to a man and some real consequences would happen to where they could end up disfigured, they would think twice.
A lot of them would think twice. The ones that would not think twice is the ones that like it. Okay? That's why I say a lot. Some of this shit will still be here because you got a lot of women that like that sort of drama. They like that physicality. They like the idea of a violent man putting them in a place. They say it. I'm not saying it. This is what they say.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The whole, Doc Johnson talks about it, rape fantasies and all this violent shit. They into a lot of that shit. They don't say it, but that's what it be, right? So Sounds like dad was talking to his daughter. They do exist. Sound like a black woman wrote that. Yeah, I agree. Simping as a father is child abuse because the boy gonna get ruined by some woman. Hold on, let's.
We can touch on that.
I like this. Simping as a dad is child abuse. Child abuse.
It is because I mean, you setting a young man up for massive failure, and then when a woman takes him for a ride, like a serious one, and he blindly gets his life ruined because he had all these false values instilled in him, who knows how he's gonna react later on in life, you know?
Yo, see, you know what they say, the abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the simp was abused by his mama, but she created him as a simp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe his daddy did, or he decided to become a simp because he was unsuccessful with women and he figured that would be the way. But there's a clip, and I know you've all seen it with Steve Harvey telling the little kid, that's right. It don't matter if you want to go. You take her there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women, they're creating, and they don't like simps. They're creating the men that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So Rodimus says, we may have to follow Sharapova Ali's book, Wrap Him in the Mouth. Whoa, I ain't see that. I ain't read that. Y'all got to put me on to that. Wrap him in the mouth.
But Shahrazad Ali
No,
mentioned something. I mean, she wasn't advocating for it, but she mentioned something along the lines of domestic discipline, so to speak.
So Marvel got women thinking they got powers for real. I've had multiple feminists saying men aren't physically stronger. So if that's the case, right? Oh, he did mean Shahrazad Ali, right? So if men and women are equally strong, then what's this about don't hit women? The whole idea behind not putting your hands on a woman is that a woman is not as strong as you, and you're basically being a bully. That's where this started. The abuse of women and children. Mind you, women abuse the shit out of kids, and they're bigger than kids. But another topic, another day. The whole idea behind not using your physical, strength against a woman is because you have more of it, and it's an unfair fight. So if transgenders are gonna and let me watch that word too on here, if are gonna play in women's sports, if everything's equal and all this shit is made up, then we should have one of these female boxers fight Floyd. Right?
I'd pay to watch that though.
It's like poisoning his son. Absolutely. Many black men has done her best to cut my son's nuts off. Oh, okay. Black men get so caught up in anecdotes that the greater message of the topic does not get addressed. It's always viral stories, celebres, or whatever. That's also true. Right? This is what menticide looks like. Salute to Tice was good. It's good, Tice. Right? So it said Rousey wants to go at Floyd. Rousey can't even beat the women.
Nope. The funny thing about Rousey is I watch the way she fights. If she gets punched square in the face one time, she loses it.
Yeah, she wanna fight Floyd. She can't even beat the women.
Can I interject something?
Yes, you can.
And I think this is gonna just lay all of this out. Black women complain about wanting to be like men and all this other stuff, but they're the same group of women that don't want to be compared to transgender women, right? And don't want transgender women in women's sports and all this other stuff, but they're supposed to be equal to men. So even though transgendered women are technically men, technically y'all are one and the same. So why is it a transgender woman different? You know what I mean?
I'll tell you why. It is because those transgender women have access to them. You know what I'm saying? they could talk all the junk they want directly about men, but they can't say it about the transgender women, because the transgender women will be like, all right, let's put the proof on the wood. Let's have this matchup. And especially in UFC, man, there's been two women that had their skulls cracked. One, I think, had their eye punched out. Another one had their ear punched clean off from getting in the octagon with transgender women.
Yeah, let's yo, I got some screenshots related to transgenders, right? So I want to pull these up because I want to discuss a few things. So now, like I said, those that follow me on Facebook, right? So this is in relation to not only transgenders but Black women. I posed a question. I said, okay, question, ladies. Right? So let me get this down. So let's say you win and men start accepting trans as women. Then what? Let's say, as hard as they're pushing, for us to accept trans as women. Now, they already use gay as an insult to us. They already do that. But then they're pushing, oh, these are women, you got to accept them. So what's the takeaway? So let's say that happened. Let's say that became generally accepted. Are women, or even Black women, ready to date a guy who has hopped the fence a few times? Now, Keena, you're the woman on the panel. Are you willing to be with a guy that got some trans in his history?
No, I'm fully transparent. Any man that has touched another man, I can't even. No, no.
What are you, phobic?
And it has nothing to do with being homophobic. I respect your decision. If that's what you want to do, whatever you do behind closed doors is your business, but you will not be doing it with me.
Oh, so they can't do what you said. That means you're a hater.
Not a hater at all. Again, like I said, you do what you do behind closed doors. That's all your business, but you will not be doing it with me.
It's not enough. It's not enough that you accept what I do. It's not enough. I need you to participate, take part in this fuckery.
Let me explain something to you. I will do no such thing, right? You could do such thing if that's what you choose. Matter of fact, how about this? Why don't you go date them and you have that experience, and then you come back and you tell me about it and you tell me what you think? How about that?
No, exactly. This ain't about me. This is about you. This is about you. You sound like a hater.
Oh, no, darling, not at all.
I'm sorry, I had missed it. So you asked her, would she date a transgender woman?
No, I asked her, would she date a guy who has a transgender ex?
Yeah, let's be fairly clear here.
I mean, that's a tree without
I'm gonna use this in the form of football. Okay, I'm gonna just break this down. We're gonna take it to football. Let's just say I got the ball. I'm on the running net, right? Not you, Marcus, per se, but you're a dude. You're bisexual. That is your choice. Now, my goal is to get to the end.
Hold on. I ain't shit.
Whatever. I know. I'm not saying you per se, Marcus. You are. I'm just saying. I'm talking general. I'm not talking to Marcus. I'm talking general.
Shit.
You general. Okay. You them. Is that better?
Say Bobby or Josie and the Pussycats or somebody. Go ahead.
Fred, whoever, Tom, whatever. Mm-hmm. All right, is a unisex. They like both. Okay, they want both creams of the pies. That's fine. You do what you want to, however you want to do it. But my end goal, right, as this running back with this ball in my hand, is to get to the end, right? So I'm gonna have things in line set up to either dismantle, demolish, or remove you out of my way so I can get to the end zone. The reason why I cannot deal with a man that has dealt with another man, whether it be a transgender or a just man in general, is you have they have a higher potentiality to spread disease that I'm not interested in. On top of that, the way that they maneuver and do things is going to be questionable. The things that I don't want to say expect, but will honor a man to do, they will not, because there are times that they're going to feel like they could be quote unquote feminine. And this is me, everybody doesn't have to agree. I don't care if you do or not. I give men the respect that they are masculine. They don't possess any feminine energy. As I am feminine, I don't possess any masculine energy. The only time I have masculine energy in me is when I'm being penetrated by a man. That's the only time I have it in me. But outside of that, I also say that, and I've also learned, and again, this is for me, this ain't everybody else, but from what I've learned and understood from my teachings is that I am matter, men have the pattern. So it is the pattern that aligns with the matter inside of me that ignites, right? That creates what it is to create, whatever it is we're meant to create. Now, I said all that to say that I respect men and give them that, but if that's what you choose to do, know that you cannot intertwine or vibrate with me, because that is not a frequency or a vibration that I am on. So you're going to have to roll your ass on. That's just not how I move.
I'm just saying.
I get it. She don't want to deal with a guy that had his chocolate in somebody's peanut butter.
So, Mad Black Masculine that says, you almost got you. It's a trap. It's a trap. They're going to catch me with that Amarak ball bullshit. It's a trap. Hell nah. You better use Bobby or Jesse or somebody else name. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't be like, yo, cause Marcus, you know, say you was to say I was to say I was the what? I'm fucking with Keita, man. That's my peoples. But I'm just saying, like,
I'm not
if
worried.
you gotta push, mind you, they already saying, look, you saying you want this type of dude, you already eliminating men out the pool for other reasons. You want to push for an agenda that eliminates more men from the already limited pool that you choosing from. You want them 6 feet, you want them 6 figures, you want this, you want them not gay, but then you're pushing a gay agenda. You accept them as women. God damn it. So once that happens, now it's like, well, now that's another question you gotta ask when you meet a motherfucker. Like, you date the Decepticons, right? You fuck with Starscream? Because if that's the case, that's another deal breaker. Then you're gonna be on the next talk show or Fox Soul with the queens talking about they know the Transformers. Oh man, now we really ain't got no choices now. You want to share with the Decepticons? You want to share with the Autobots? Shock. This is Shockwave. You want to, you know what I'm saying? You want to share with with Megatron? Like, come on, man. This I'm trying to understand. This is a defeatist, path. You want to go down this road. Like, I'm trying to understand, like, but again, we getting away from the accountability thing, but at the end of the day, these bad ideas that these women come up with, eventually they'll blame it on us. They'll blame feminism on us. They'll say, feminism creates a situation where men don't gotta be men. Understand, it wasn't our idea. You want to make an income now? Okay, you make an income. What do you think? You gonna keep that bread? Again, Cinderella complex. You don't get to keep that bread while I pay everything. Well, I don't want to come home and clean up the house. Well, shit, you make money. Hire a housekeeper. You can afford it. You want to be a career woman, but you pay for it because I still got to do my man shit when I come home. I still got to rake leaves. I still got to clean the pool. And I'm talking about all the shit that my man does because he owns a house in Long Island. And I clown this motherfucker because he got man chores. Nobody talks about man chores. We always talk about the dishes and the cooking and shit. There's man chores. Women are not cutting grass and shoveling snow and all of this backyard shit and front yard shit and house maintenance. House maintenance. Yeah, you could hire a plumber, electrician, and any of that shit, but guess who's gonna pay for that? Anything that falls under what a man should be doing in the house, if you ain't doing it, if you're the guy and you ain't fixing the pipes, if you ain't tightening bolts, then you pay somebody to do it. But any of that womanly shit, you got a job, you're going to pay that person to do your job if you don't want to do it. If you, oh, my job got me tired. Oh, you chose to be a career woman. So now you got to choose another career woman, a woman that whose career is cleaning up after your ass, and you pay them, motherfucker. Fuck out of here. So there's no end game to that. And Afro Shop says, facts. But, you know, you got too many dudes that they want to they think they see it as meeting women in the middle, but what they're doing is they're meeting women on their side. So they go to work, she goes to work, she keeps her money, they split the housework, he does the man chores plus some domestic housework. That's not the middle. It's not the middle. A lot of what women are into is, you know, is what you call it, is you know, enabling. Like again, they are following a lot of this stuff because we are allowing it. We are allowing it. A lot of this shit, yo. And again, we're black men. We don't run the society. We are not the state. So, you know, we could talk about the welfare state and them getting checks and this and that, things of that nature, and the fact that they run the white zaddy and all of that shit. But there are a lot of things that do have a lot to do with us. We contribute to this mentality or this ideology of no accountability. And then there was a lot of things that are out of our control also. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm overlooking that stuff. But you know, let me bring up. So
But
mhm.
but even still, right? Yes, we understand conditions and one-off situations, but that's not what we're talking about, right?
True.
We're talking about the nature and focus of not being accountable. See, and that's a part of accountability right there, not being accountable for that. But nonetheless, it's a manner of a false deserving and entitlement and wanting because we see other people having this, so we should have it too, and you must go fetch it as if you're like a dog. But it's amazing to me. It's very amazing to me that any woman that says that she has an issue with submission, how you work a job. Because if you can work a job, you can submit to a man. It's just really not that hard. And the reason why I say that is this, and we get all comfy with the word submission, and it doesn't sound right, and I don't think it's this, and it comes from this, and we want to be all this, and we want to be all that. Well, if you want to say that this is this and this is that, well, let's be fairly clear here. Being a woman is not being the same as a man. Being a woman is understanding your femininity, learning to be soft, learning when to be quiet, because you don't always have to be heard. Sometimes your silence speaks more volumes than your words. You do not have to compete because there's nothing to compete with, right? Because men are not your competition. And when we understand that as women, life becomes easier, but they don't want easy. They want hard and they want struggle and they want to prove that they could do the same thing as a man can, but for what? Who are you proving it to and why? And let's be clear here, what heterosexual, fine chocolate, and I'm just men in general, but I'm just saying the chocolate black men, but just men want a hard, loud, callous woman to go home to when that's what he works with and that's what he's around. Why would he want to come home to that? So why would he want to come home to you if you're behaving that way? Nagging, unsupportive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to bring it home to this. The reason why things are chaotic and this happens and that happens, and if we want to be honest, and this is full accountability, is the situations we landed and put ourselves in, we put ourselves in. Question is, why did we put ourselves in those situations? And when we look at that initial accountability, then we can understand why life unfolds and decide what we want to do with life at that point. But part of the reason why they are allergic to accountability as a whole is because they can't be accountable with themselves. So if they can't be accountable with themselves, how can they be accountable with you? Make sense?
Mm-hmm. So,
To
did
add
you
to
have something to
that,
say, Shane?
well, I just wanted to add to the whole submission thing. I think a lot of women in general, they get submission confused with servitude. You know what I mean? It's almost like a knee-jerk response when they hear submission. They think, "Oh, slavery," you know, and it's not like that. Now, I mean, if they want to be in service to a man like property, that's the decision. But submission is just respectful cooperation. That's literally all it is. You know, and
Yeah.
in general, women receive that same submission from men on a regular because and without any contention, because men understand that, you know, someone is going to have to check their ego for anything to get done. You know what I mean?
So understand this, right? Earlier we spoke on, and then we're gonna talk about this this thing that I have up here. Cortez Smith says they submit to broke Brad, and that's what I'm gonna
Yep. I
address.
mentioned that earlier.
Understand, Shane, I agree with you. I agree with you. But this understand, earlier we said
Hold
that
on,
white skin.
Marcus. I don't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to answer Cortez really quickly.
No,
So,
I'm gonna address that. I'm gonna address that.
Okay.
Just hold that thought. Understand, the same way we associate white skin with money and black skin without money, the other thing that we associate white skin is authority. Okay, authority. We associate white skin with authority because in our culture and in our nation, white men are the state. See, you go to other countries, right? The people who run the country look like the people who live in it. This is the exception. You go to China, the state are the Chinese and the people are Chinese. You go to Europe, same thing. You go to these little, islands and shit, same thing. The people who are the state are the people, right? The thing about America is the state doesn't resemble us. So in this environment, the white man is the state. So given America's history, people humbly submit to the state. Well, black men are one of the, we're the number one group that does not like readily bow down to the state. The thing with our women is they submit to the state and who represents the state. So when they submit, not in the cooperation context, but in the servitude context, okay? And that's what Cortez is getting at here. He says, no, they don't get it confused. They pretend to be confused. These same women know how to submit to the white man. Mind you, they'll give you the argument that when they go to work, the reason they submit to their boss is because they're being paid. Understand this. When they're in a relationship that they don't want to submit in, but they got their bills and everything else being taken care of, it's the same as going to work, submitting to that guy, bringing home the money that you would be using to do the same things that your man is now doing for you. But you submit to that boss that you got to get up early in the morning to go work for, but you don't submit to the man you live with because his skin does not represent authority. They don't look at black men as authority figures. They look at black men as slaves. Okay? That's the way they look at us. That's why when you see black businessmen, successful black men, with all the things that black women say about black men need to be successful, they don't even know how to deal with that correctly, because as soon as a black man is successful, it comes with some level of authority, and they don't want to submit to that either. They have a hard time dealing with that. You'll see all these girls talk about, well, you know, I used to have a guy with 6 figures. Used to. It means it didn't work out. It means you couldn't submit. So, Shane, I've told many dudes, I said, yo, don't use the word submit, use the word cooperate. But then what Cortez is saying, and what many have said, is they don't have an issue giving that definition of submission to the man who represents the state. So because they associate that man with authority. It doesn't matter how much money they do or don't have. So yeah, it could be broke Brad. You got to be rich Trevor to get half-ass cooperation. You get full cooperation as a broke Brad because they associate his skin color, not just with money, because they can know he doesn't have money, but they associate his skin color with authority and all other things positive, right?
Yeah, you could have two guys side by side, broke Brad, and you could put broke Brad in a real bad situation, give him 3 baby mamas, and they'll still pick him over the black man that's trying to do right if he doesn't already have himself established pretty good.
So, what's good, bro? That's my brother. Yes, it's subconscious programming. Even if a black man is a police chief, black women would rather listen to a mall cop. So before I bring Ian in, right, this is what I'm gonna say, right? I've been in, and I hope Ian just dropped out, he'll come back. I've been in, like out here, I'm in Vegas, and Vegas is open carry, right? Let's talk about subconscious programming. You see a black person in Walmart open carrying. Your reaction to that is different than when you see anybody else open carrying, right? The same way the police and everybody else respond differently to it. It's subconscious programming. It's implicit bias. Implicit. So it's like when I brought a couple of dudes that I worked with in New York, white boys, to an underground locked door party with none but black dancers. And these girls was all over these 2 dudes. They was all over them. Right? And that's just that's just how it works. So yeah, so when we say submission, they know how to submit, but it means something different to you. They have a hard time submitting to you because you're not an authority figure. You're not a figure that they are obligated to respect in any way, right? So I purposely use the more aggressive wording submit, because if I'm expected to give my life, she better do what I say. Understood. Yeah, we as men can't use that word submission. Cooperation, accommodating works just the same, and you may get a better response in your conversation with a sister. The reason why that's the truth is because black women don't view us as authority figures. They view us as their equals while demanding more of us. So I'm kind of I feel I see both sides of this argument. I see Afro shop and I see mad black masculineness, right? If I'm expected to give my life, she better do what I say, because asking for your life is a lot.
Well, explain this too, because I thought about this. When black women end up having to deal with black men that are undeniably superior in status in every way, they like to call those men arrogant. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's like black men that are established, not necessarily arrogant. We just we just know who we are. We're true to ourselves. You know what I mean? And we don't have to be offensive or rude. We just let our reputation speak for itself. But some black women will come across and say, "Oh, he must be arrogant because he got all this going." And the thing is, I think they're just mad that such men have options.
Yeah. So let's go into this. Said, bro, I've had black women cross the street after catching a glimpse of me walking on the same side of the street like white folks and Asians. Whoa.
Mm.
So Cortez says black women view us as subordinate. This is true. This is a fact. This is a fact. You know what I mean? Because some of them, it's like you got to be a 6-figure dude to maybe be an equal. Maybe. I know women who date dudes beneath them so they could run the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, black women back in the days owned slaves. They kind of still function in many ways, like, you know, oh, I want you to go work for me, bring home this, that, that. It's a slavery dynamic, if you think
Like the
about
Harriet Tubman type thing.
it. They pose it as traditionalism, but it's really slavery. It's really slavery. You know what I'm saying? Where you get a guy, you got him working and you know, bringing home whatever, you know, because again, we're not in the days where women can't earn a living. It's almost a slavery proposition. It's almost like a slavery dynamic. He says, I wear a suit while walking to work too. It ain't like I'm dressed down. So this man is suited and booted, and they cross the street when they see him. You know?
Mm.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
You know? And but yeah, you know, yeah, the subordinate thing is it holds a lot of weight. You know? I've had women working for me that thought that they talked to me like somehow we were equals. No, you work for me in my office space. You work for me. I hired you. I tell you what it is. We ain't collaborating. You know, if I'm captain of the ship, you row the boat. And I stand up and my you know, with my foot on the front of the shit and my scarf waves in the wind, you know, while you row. If I'm the captain, right? Subordination is taught by their mothers because yeah, these mothers, these fathers, like you just saw, they teach the women to you know that the men are, you know, subordinates to this. You know, they teach we learn this, like I said, through the environment and from our you know, from our parents, right? So yeah, so back to Simp Daddy, you know, she's the boss. You're simply honored. She chose to spend time with your goofy ass. So offer to pay for everything. She's the boss. Since when is she the boss if I'm paying? You can't even hit the blunt unless you put in. What's the matter with these people? You can't hit the blunt unless you put 5 on it. I'm not even a smoker, and I know the rules of smoking. You know, it might be fake, but you know, at the end of the day, like, what's the matter with people? So let's go. Let's touch on this for a second. So like, okay, men dating in their 30s. So you got 3 choices. This is, and mind you, this is what society is pushing. This is not the reality, but this is what society is pushing on us. You can either get with a body positive obesity, a mother of 2, or you can go to the right, which you know, Keita was like, you know, well, you know, you go that route, you can't rock with me. Trans, right? These are the choices that are being, and it says men dating in their 30s. I don't think this is a white man's reality. I think it should say, I think a black person made this mean. It should say black men dating in their 30s. That's not something that white men have to deal with. White men could put their dick in whoever they like, and they're good. They can even chop it off, and they're good. The trans movement, Dave Chappelle had it right. The trans movement is a white movement. It's not our movement. Black trans and black LGBTQ are just as confused as black women who thought that the feminist movement was about them. It's not about you. It's not about you. I don't know where Ian went. I guess he'll be back. All right. So black women have always been more educated and has had more access as a group to the dominant culture perks, thus creating conflict when she's back home. Facts. My downtown apartment, Seattle, is across the street from a single mother shelter sponsored by Amazon. And every morning, these black women give me the death stare as I walk to work. So they looking at you like Django on a horse. Who that nigga on that nag? I said, who that nigga on that nag? That's insane, bro. I can't say that black women are more educated because a lot learn from a man somewhere in their lives. But I think what he means is, school, right? Academics, right? They got more access. Think about the average black woman, right? And I can attest to this because I lived it. We're more likely to let our daughters stay in our houses to complete school than our sons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When he hit 18, he got to get a job. He got to pay bills. She can go to school until she's 40. And that's part of the culture. We promote higher education in women, and we shoot it down when it comes to boys. Straight up. So of those three, if a gun was to your head, which order would you choose? I'm taking the mother too. I could deal with some kids, whoop their ass, man. Mother too. I'm not doing the body positive obesity. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's the question that people in noise. I want people in the chat. I want answers, man. I'm gonna toss them up on screen. Men dating in their 30s. Which ones you going with? I know nobody's going to the right, so it's either you going straight ahead or you going to the left. All right. Jamil, you are resented because you represent a small class of successful black men and you won't save them. Not only that, but he represents a small class of black men that they have to measure up to. They have to improve. The ball is in their court. See, it's easy when you can look at a dude and be like, oh, you ain't shit. You ain't got your shit together. Better than you. You the one that have to improve. I'm doing it. You ain't. But when a dude is on his shit, when the dude is winning, now the ball is on you. How are you doing? You want a baller, you got to be a baller's wife. Are you a baller's wife? Are you a successful man's catch? Because now you feel away. Because now you're in a space where you have to change. Respectfully, mad black masculinists, they have the most access to education. Presently, they're the most enrolled. Facts. Because they get more support, whether it be from the state or at home. They get to stay rent-free for longer going to school. McKenna, historically, they've been educated far longer than black men. Yes, academics is what I mean. Yeah. Same, mother or two. Yeah, I'm going with the mother or two out of them three choices. He's agreeing. Toxic motherhood created that false narrative that the son needs to work because he's a man, so they say. Right? A lot of these women are having these kids to babysit their other kids or to collect a check or to bring money into the household, to bring an income. This is for you, Keena. It's wild to me. Both my black parents were Black Panthers, and I'm sure they never thought that this world they were fighting for. Oh, this is the world they were fighting for. Yeah. I say that's like, King and them, they will be rolling over in their grave. They are not even the most enrolled statistically. It's impossible. Maybe they talking percentages. They're more enrolled than us. Every listen, all the things that Black women are doing that are impressive on a Black community level. You leave the Black community, it's blah. Once you leave the Black community, the things that Black women are doing are not that impressive. Right? So something I was having a conversation about yesterday, my aunt, me and her was talking about mandatory DNA at birth. And I said, it won't happen for two reasons. Because number one, you got more women voters. And number two, you got more women in government. There are more Black women in government than Black men. They write policy. But again, everything that Black women are doing within the community, they're outshining us, except they don't make more money than we do.
You know why it is, right?
Because of what they get fucking shit in, man. They go and they get all this education for two reasons. They get education. Well, it's a few reasons, actually, not just two, but they get all this education. They get all this education in bullshit, in shit that don't really make money.
Most of it's community college degrees, and they don't even go into the STEM field. So those are the two biggest things.
The things that men major in, and I ain't just talking about school, I'm just talking about in life, as far as getting money, are the most profitable things. We work longer. Like, we're built for it. We're built to work long hours. We're built for it. Just period. There's a few women, anecdotal examples of women that work long hours and do what men do, but they don't tip the scale. So how much taxes can this single motherhood lifestyle take? So it said Black women are the most educated among their race. Yeah. I mean, there's Black women, there's Black men. There's only two, they're only competing with us. That's it. Oh, I got another thing, we talking about accountability. I got another screenshot to bring up in a second. I'm gonna go through these comments. And that's not even true, because Hispanic women are the most educated amongst their race. Why are Black boys doing so poorly if Black women who have an average of 2 kids are the most educated? Jamil, you just asked a great question, which is going to lead to my next screenshot. We talking about the poor education of Black boys. The poor education of Black boys. Do I got that in here? I don't got that in here. Well, in the meantime, before I bring that up, this is another thing. Broke men, and it doesn't say Black men or Black women. It says broke men are hurting American women's marriage prospects. So while on one hand, they're complaining that men make more money than them and it should be equal, now they're complaining that men don't make enough money, or they don't make as much money as they do. Look, you're one, right? Broke men. What's broke really? What's broke really? It's really about you don't make that much more than they do for a lifestyle change. And shout out to Adam Midmore on Facebook for this. But he was absolutely right. He said, it's not that men are broke, and then he busts down the average median incomes. It's that when women are thinking hypergamous, they don't want to date a guy that's within their income range. They want to date a guy that their lifestyle changes. Right? So if they make it 50, they need a guy that's double. They need a guy that's 100,000, 120. Right? They need a guy that when they get with him, he's going to drastically change their reality. It's not that they're broke. These women don't even want to date guys that's making 70,000. They don't even want to date them. Because if they're making 60, that's a $10,000 difference. That does nothing to change their reality. Nothing at all. So to them, that's broke. That's what they mean when they say broke. Broke men are hurting their marriage prospects. Oh, he doesn't have enough money. It's not that they're broke. They that they got to be supported. A man that's making $70,000, $80,000, he could live, he could support a family. But they getting money. So now it becomes
no, Marcus. They can't support their Balenciagas and that false lifestyle they want.
The Birkenback. What they want to do, they want a guy who's making double what they're making so that they can take their money and not contribute to anything. Right? Not contribute to anything. They want their money to be freed up. Right? You want proof? Here we go. I was married at 21, had our son at 22. Never paid a bill in my household. Even after the divorce, I still didn't pay bills. I don't split bills with men. I don't build. I don't shack up. I don't do anything 50-50. I can't help out with absolutely nothing. When you give money to men, you finance his what? B-I-T-C-H. You finance his bitch. It is ungodly to be married with children and work and pay bills at the same time. Really? Because men are married with children and they work and they pay bills at the same time. But anyway, this will make your face cave in, breast collapse, attitude nasty, and possibly land you an incurable disease if you have a man, husband, side piece, or special friend. You should never be broke, look busted, or be struggling. I'm gonna read that last part on the bottom since it's not visible on screen. So they never paid no bills. He even paid after the divorce. It probably could have state made him do it. That's probably why. Probably could have state made him do it. Hey, this shit don't be noble gestures all the time. You know, you forced to do it. You had to do it. But that's what it is. You know, they don't want to do it. They want to be able to take their money and do what they will. So now we're gonna get to what Jamil said about young boys, because I got it all pulled up now. So only 12% of Black males are proficient in reading by 8th grade. If this was the case for white males, the media would categorize this as an epidemic and a national security risk. If a Black male is not proficient in reading by the 4th grade, they only have a 20% chance of graduating from high school on a grade level. To save the Black boys, we must teach them how to read. Let me ask everyone here. And now this is a question I'm going to shoot at Ian.
Yes, sir.
He just walked in the room. 12% of Black males are proficient in reading by 8th grade. Knowing what we know about the Black community, knowing who we know as the custodial parent, I don't give a fuck who else was or was not there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we ain't even getting into who wasn't there and why and all that shit. Let's deal with what's in front of us. 12% of Black males are proficient in reading by the 8th grade. Knowing what we know, who the fuck fault is this?
It's a Black woman's fault, bro. Hands down.
Can someone give me an inherent defect that Black boys possess that no other boy, young male demographic possesses? That puts them. I was a young Black male. I could read at an 8th grade level in the 4th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I got the receipts. right?
But see, that's the thing. That's the thing. It just you have to just pick and choose because um if a mother is able to do that for you, she's able to do that for all the boys. So that and if they're the custodial parent, it just means that in those cases that they're not reading proficiently, those mothers just decided to drop, they just dropped the ball, you know.
But check this out. Why isn't this happening to black girls?
Right. Right. And then that's the question. And that's the
They are
question.
growing up in the same environments
Hmm.
that black boys. So what are black mothers doing with their daughters that are not they're not doing with their sons? And is this intentional? What
Yes,
is it?
yes, it
Talk to
is.
me.
It's intentional.
Talk to me.
I'm gonna
Talk to me.
tell you why it's intentional because the thought process is as such. A lot of black women think that when they raise their daughters, that their daughters will be responsible and take care of them. So out of all the children that they have, the girls are more willing to take care of the mom, do things for the mom more so than the son. The son is gonna be more stern and more, firm, depending upon the relationship with the mother as well. I will say that. So 9 times out of 10, the mothers tend to think that the daughters will do right by them, and they look at their daughters as friends, and more so their sons as burdens.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's it. I'm not gonna say I disagree. I just have a different perspective or speculation, right? I feel like this, right? I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like these women are looking for their sons to take care of them. They're raising their women to be independent, and they're raising their boys to be dependent because of the relationship between mothers and their sons, right?
Hmm.
They don't like women get married and they become, they form their families. And I understand the thing you're saying about women and their daughters being friends because, my oldest sister is my mother's best friend, right? But the girl is the most likely to leave and not do shit for you because once she moves out and she gets her dude, her attention is there. It's your son that you bank on for that. And I think that a lot of these mothers, they hold their sons back because they want their sons to be the man that they don't have.
Hmm.
They want their sons to take care of them because daddy or whatever husband figure is not there. They're replacing
Hmm.
their man or their husbands with these boys.
Well,
I think it's more than
you
that.
have a good point. I think like in my case, I remember when I was in the 10th grade, I asked my mother for medical books, right? Medical books, because I was like, oh, for whatever reason, I was sparked. I guess I was thinking about becoming a doctor or whatever. So I asked my mother, so here's the thing. So my mother, she spent a couple $100, right, on some earrings, maybe just a year or two before, right, to get some diamond earrings, right, you know. And so, but when I asked her, just a little while later, maybe a couple months or a year later, for some medical books, she told me no.
Mm.
Mm,
so
mm.
so it's like, yeah, she wanted me to look good and to be around the house looking good for her retarded ass, right? But she didn't want
She didn't want you leaving the house.
right. You know what I'm saying? She wanted me to be cute and shit in the house looking good for her retarded ass, but she didn't want me to get no books and leave the house, you know what I'm saying? Leave her in her retardedness to, to suffer alone. You know what I mean? That's what it
So
is. You're right.
don't
I
leave me
think
for no smart girl. Don't leave me for no smart girl. So I'm gonna do this and buy this for you to try to keep you, so that way you can't leave me and think you can go get something better.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
let's catch up with these
I
comments.
think it's a lack of reinforcement at home too, because we already know the school system treats boys and girls very, very differently.
Mm-hmm.
The school systems will they tend to give girls more one-on-one attention, especially if they might be falling behind. Whereas the boys, they just assume that they're defective by default and would rather put the boys on some sort of drug than to give
Yeah.
them the same type of individual attention.
Remember,
And then when it comes to the black community, getting some type of reinforcement or encouragement at home, usually that only comes in the form of corporal punishment. You know, you bring home some bad grades, you're gonna get your ass whooped, and you're gonna keep getting your ass whooped until those grades come up.
let
And
me ask, let me
that
ask,
doesn't always work.
let me ask all of you, how many black male teachers can you remember having?
None.
3, and I loved all of them.
What about you, Ian?
How many black? None. Well, no, one. My whole life, one.
Black male teachers.
One.
Yeah.
Actually, and as far as male teachers, 2.
No, black male. No, black and male. Not male teachers or black teachers. Black men. Black men as teachers.
Just one. Just one.
Just one. Understand, Shane. You made a point that girls are treated differently. By who? I had a teacher tell me that she wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. I tell her it was an emergency. She said, "Boys don't have emergencies."
Ooh,
How the fuck would you know? So
man, that's crazy.
Cortez, we backtracking the previous out. They leave out the fact that women's standards are the reason men are making more money than ever. Facts. If all the women left the workplace, they could all be housewives. You can't compete with and be taken care of by a man. Yeah, you can't compete with and have us take care of you. Yeah, facts. It really means there aren't enough rich men. That's what I imagine he was saying. Black women are looking for a come up, not a family. They want someone to pay off that U.S. leading student debt. And that's another thing I was going to talk about earlier. It's the student debt. That's another thing that these women get these bullshit ass degrees on all this money and credit card that they rack up. I remember being in college and every 5 minutes I get a motherfucker trying to get me to fill out a credit card application for some goofy ass gift, right? We've all been there. It's ungodly for her to be screwing random men out of wedlock. It's ungodly. All right. So the black girls aren't reading well either, but the moms are pushing them somewhat. Or I'd have to look up that stat, but I'm sure it's not as bad as this. I would believe that the mothers are showing the women or the girls attention in the academic sense more so than the boys. I would believe that. Because that's our culture. Our culture is the education and and the progress of women over boys. That's something we do. The community does not value being educated formally and informally. Even back in the day, the street cats looked out for the smarter kids. Not anymore. That's facts. Shit. I would say most of the hate, y'all gonna disagree with me on this one. This is a touchy one. I would say most of the dislike for Kanye comes from the fact that he speaks academically. Like he has his whole swag is an academic because his mother's an academic, right? So black women want women to win, so they raise girls more care. Yeah, I agree with that. Carefully. All right.
Yeah, I mean, young black boys coming up and even into early adulthood and later adulthood, pretty much is left on them to figure it out for themselves. I mean, we're just thrown to the wolves. I remember when I was in high school, and my counselor told my mother to her face that I should focus on signing up for a VOTEC school or something like that so I can be a contribution to society for when I don't graduate. And then, yeah, that's how serious it was. That's how much there was no care given to young black men in the school that I came up in. And then when I graduated from high school, went on to college, got my degree,
Well, put it in the bag then.
and then started my first professional level job out of college was a pretty big deal. My high school caught wind of it, and then they wanted to start like a student hall of fame or something like that. And I'm like, they never did nothing like that before, and so now they want to pander to me.
I see. On the bike.
Residential.
Yeah, hit that thumbs up, people. I need them thumbs. Let me get them thumbs, please. It's free. Cost you nothing. It's free. See, let me get the thumbs up. We got a lot of people in here. All I need is that thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Anything else is extra, but I just need that thumbs up. But yeah, Ty said he's had 3 black male teachers. All right, black boys and men are cast into society and expected to get it out the mud.
Yep.
While black girls and women are handed the keys to corporate career. It's facts. Get it out the mud. Bootstraps. Bootstrap Turner. For those Pirates of the Caribbean fans out there. Bootstrap. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Our shit is always, you know, yeah, you got to get it on your own. They give us nothing to work with. Nothing, you know, and the funny thing is Dennis Sperling just did a video where he was talking about why are black men always expected to give back to the hood. And I'm trying to understand what we took from the hood that we're giving back to it, right? So, okay, Tice, I see you. So what we about to do in a second is we're going to have people, so a few people jump in and out and give, you know, give their opinions, because I got people that want to jump into here and talk to us. So I'm gonna have a couple of people, whoever, I'm gonna post the link and have a couple of people jump in. And
yeah, I don't mind falling off because I got some stuff I actually need to get done that's kind of critical for the over into tomorrow.
So yeah, I'm gonna have some people speak their mind. You jumping out right now?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump out right now.
All right, so yo, we're gonna do this again. Just holla at your boy.
All right then. All right, Ian. All right, Makina.
Holla at you.
Peace.
Peace.
Nice meeting you.
Likewise.
So all right, so I'm gonna drop that link in the chat so y'all can hit that link. You know, definitely hit that thumbs up. I see you, Brandy. So yeah, you know, like I said, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna say the simps, and you know, just patriarchal society. It's funny when they say down with the patriarchy. I'm down with it too. Because what the patriarchy is this idea that, yo, you know, you gotta go to work and bust your ass and bring home money to contribute to a family that may or may not love you for it, right? That's what patriarchy is. A patriarch is a father. It's a dad. It's a protector. It's a provider. It's not this power thing that they pretend it is. A patriarch is a dad, just like a matriarch is a mother, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So when they say patriarchy, down with the patriarchy, basically you are turning in your I guess your access to these benefits that come with it. Now you don't get to still get those benefits. If you're in a warm house and it's snowing outside, the heat ain't going to leave with you. When you go outside, it's cold out there and your ass will be cold. You know, whatever's out there that's in here, you leave that shit when you walk out the door. So when you leave a certain system or certain protections or whatever, you don't play your role in that shit, then you forfeit. Nice, was good.
What's good, brother Marcus? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Hey, salute to the panel, Miss McKenna, Ian. Salute to you all. Happy Tuesday. Let me go back to your first question of the show about Black women's allergy to accountability. Is that me? All the noise?
You got, hey, Ian, you got mute for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, that's not me. I'm in my office right now. Yeah, man. To the very point of your topic, most of what I'm going to say you are already familiar with, and you know, probably your audience. I'm trying to put it all together. You know, when people don't have to be accountable for something, they basically can keep doing the same thing. At the end of the day, this is about keeping women. You know, the more we're separated, the more of a consumer class we are, because hey, you have to have two different residences, you know, they have to continually be consumers and such, you know. But one of the things, and this is where I kind of draw a hard line in personally. I know many people ain't gonna agree with it, but I try to look at the class level that people are from. And no, I'm not talking about upper class, lower class like that. I mean, like, what's their value system? Did they have a father in their life that was active? You know, I don't care about the marriage part, but were they actually active in their life? And usually 9 times out of 10, that is something that's very telling, where you can, you know, really see how many of them act, you know, because a father is going to make you be accountable for your actions and such. It was something else. Oh, you had said something about just patriarchy. Man, that's the game that they do right now. They take certain words, we're oppressed. And I'm like, excuse me, do you know what oppressed means? You have running water. You have electrical lights. You have paved roads. You ain't remotely oppressed. And now they've demonized the term patriarchy, when all it means is that we pretty much created the infrastructure that allows you to post on social media your glamorous life and all that you really ain't living. But you know what I'm saying there. But I'm going to end on this one. This is going to be tough, a tough pill for brothers to swallow here. And that is this. Sadly, I'm going to say 10 to 15%, maybe 20 are salvageable, but the ABW, American Black Woman, acts in her own interests and sees herself as her own group. So with that said, fellas, are we going to see ourselves as our own group? We've been dealing with this since third wave feminism, okay? We've seen the family structure plummet. I can do bad by myself, and thank you for showing that thing about the brothers reading at the 8th grade level. It's one more caveat I wanted to say is this, is that yes, the girls read at a higher level, but after 7th grade, you know, after they go through their puberty and all that stuff, they tend to fall off big time in the math areas, which is why they're not represented very well in the STEM fields. But back to what I was saying about the brothers, our brothers ready to say, you know what, we can be cool, but we're going to act in our own best interests here. You know, and that means stop liking the pictures of the chicks you don't even know or dealing with. Stop giving them all the validation. When you're out and about, just like the brother, I think his name was Jamal, who was talking about he's an upstanding brother. He can't even get a smile walking across the street. When you snatch away that attention, you keep doing that. But I don't think most brothers have that in them.
I hear you, man. You know, I again, it's our training, man. We've been trained to be like this. You know, it's like growing up Christian. You know, if you grow up Christian, man, you know, it's hard to discard those teachers, man. For most people, you know, most people learn from people that they love. You know, these systems. You know, you love your mother, you love your dad, and what they tell you, you put value in it based on your love for them. And it's hard to, you know, walk away. That's another thing that Black men do, is we see Black women in the images of our mothers.
Yeah, we coalesce around it.
So we, you know, I'm sure you've heard Black men say this. They say, you know, well, would you treat your mother or your sister or something, your auntie like that? And
no, Mark, say it right. Say it right, Marcus. Say it right. Your mama Black too.
Yeah, yeah, your mama Black. So it's like that's always the thing that's thrown in your face. Is like, these women are deserving of your mother's love, because they are your mother. You know, they are your auntie. They are whatever woman, your grandmother, whatever woman you hold dear. These women that are doing you the dirtiest are equal to them. You know, but why doesn't that work for your daddy? And well, you know, we hate daddy.
Yeah, we don't. Where's the, even though you was a crack fiend, you always was a Black queen line for the brothers, you know?
You know, Black women, you know, Black mamas, you can be a crack fiend, you could be abusive, you could be all of these things. But if you're a Black father, you know, you miss one, you know, poetry recital or a game or or something like that, or if the lights was out for 5 minutes, you know, you a deadbeat or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, right.
They discard you. The tolerance for being a bad mother is way higher than being a bad father. and fathers are human too, just like, because we see the humanity in mothers and in women in general, but we do not see dads and men's humanity. The humanity is taken away.
Well, you know, the CDC, and I'll say this briefly and pass the mic. You know, the CDC put out something a couple of years ago about black dads who can be involved, who don't have any restrictions, are the most involved out of all the other dads. But that's not promoted, and I get that agenda. Do you or anybody on the panel recall that story earlier this year about the mother who had the mother in Baltimore who had the kid with the 0.53 GPA? Did anybody hear that story?
No.
Okay, yeah. So there was a mother who, I kid you not, if you probably do a Google search on 0.53 and type BAL, it'll auto-populate, real talk. So I noticed when they were interviewing the mother, I'm expecting to see an Aunt Jemima scarf on, all this, her talking about everything. Man, her hair was laid. The school should have called me and this, you know, and I'm like, wait a minute. This goes back to this accountability thing. Your son had a 0.53 for 4 years, and you blaming the schools. It's the school at fault in somewhat, absolutely. But this guy did, and by the way, they said he read at the course of 4th grade level. And I'm just wondering how any parent could let this happen. So when I saw that story on Facebook, and you already know how Facebook is, Marcus, you know, people like, well, maybe she worked. You don't know if she was getting off of drugs. And I'm like, damn, y'all got the excuses already locked and loaded, and y'all don't even know the facts in this yet. But it just kind of stunned me that she made sure on that news appearance, I'm gonna see if I can find the story. On that news appearance, her hair was laid.
I'm trying to look for it as you're speaking. I typed in 0.53.
No, I'll put it in I'll put it in the back chat.
So yeah, so that's interesting. That's funny because the first thing I think of is the story of you know, when the teachers or the principal made some rule that the parents had to come to school presentable. You know,
The bonnets, yeah, no bonnets, no pajamas. You know.
Yeah, they come.
You know, I just flew back from LA last night, right? So I live in Fort Lauderdale, and you know, I had a late, so I got in at 10. No. It was a morning flight. Yes, I saw bonnets. Of course, we know whose heads they were attached to.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like a onesie twosie thing either.
Wow.
Yeah. I think everybody knows that I'm the flyingest dude, right?
Right.
I stay in the air, and that's all I see. It's all I see, right? You know, and that's another thing where, you know, these girls don't expect any like backlash, right? You know, accountability, backlash, or any opinions said about something that they're doing. You know, that's just another example. But
hey, I was gonna say, Marcus, it's in the back chat. I gotta laugh at this one. Oh, okay. The reason why your Google search didn't come up, or whatever search engine, is because I told you the wrong GPA. It's 0.13.
Oh, okay. It's 0.13.
That's amazing.
and as soon as you type, like I said, 0.13 GPA, the first results is of the mother with her, you know, with her dude talking about. Oh, second, missed 272 days, by the way, too.
When you said 0.53, I'm like, you know, promote. So they promote. Okay, so Baltimore City School, they promoted the kid with the 0.13 GPA while spending $1.4 billion, a $1.4 billion budget. A problem occurred, right? So they passed.
Oh, the school is at fault on one hand. I'm not going to say that, but you also know as a parent what your kids, you know, where they academically weak at, where they need strength at, you know, and
you're supposed to know,
right? And to miss, I mean, it also he missed 272 days. I don't know how many days is in a school year, but sounds like a lot, you know. Especially, I think I probably missed no more than 10 days of school in high school total, you know. But yeah, it's You can blame the schools, but if we're supposed to know everything is conspiracy, they teaching his story and all that stuff, we know what we're dealing with right now. You know, we got the same tools that, air quotes, they have, and how are we maximizing them? Selfies and all that shit.
Okay, so, all right, Baltimore public schools promote a student with the .13 GPA, right? So, all right, Baltimore mom recently learned that her high school senior had a .13 GPA, yet ranked 62 out of 120 in his class. The student had flunked all but 3 classes during his first 3 years of high school. How could this student be ranked in the middle of his class, Project Baltimore?
What does that tell you about the
But listen, but you know what, Marcus?
Oh,
I'm gonna
man.
tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. This is the add-on to my mother graduated college. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? My mother's not is an intelligent female, right? But here's the thing: 10th grade year, I failed every class. My 10th grade year, I failed every class. Not a word was said to me by anybody. You know, and I was living with my mother at the time because my parents were divorced. I was back and forth between my mother and my father. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, my father didn't pay child support because, you know, some years we would stay with my mother and some years my father, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they both had, you know, good jobs and good careers or whatever. But the point is, though, when I was with her, she took no, you know, during that was when I decided, you know what I'm saying, let me get my butt in gear. I might want to become a medical doctor of some sort, you know, and I asked her to get the medical books. You know, that was the year in which I failed every class. And she took no notice whatsoever of that, you know, at all. You know, and of course she gets, you know, the parents, they get the report and all that. She didn't say one word to me about anything. So it's like, okay, you basically wanted me to tank. You know what I'm saying? But luckily, you know what I'm saying, I went back with my dad, my 11th and 12th, you know, and I got straight A's in honor roll, you know what I'm saying, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Black
Did she
women,
take,
man.
Brother Ian, did she take credit for that?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. She couldn't do that.
So I'm gonna have I don't know how you pronounce it, Truff Teller comment real quick. What's going on, bro?
Hey, gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening. My first time jumping in. I'm a fan of the channel.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate you having me.
No doubt. So, yeah, Black women's allergic to accountability. Let's talk about it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's 100%. So just my background, because people hear me talk and think I'm some kind of single bum floating around here. Married, 20 years, 3 kids. I make over $100,000. Been doing that for the last 10 years. So whatever that means these days, you know, a whole high value crap. That's something else altogether. I remember that story y'all was just talking about when it came out, about that kid that had like a point something GPA, and they told his ass he wasn't graduating, and his mother was actually upset and on the news talking about they failed her son.
Yep.
And he had been going to high school for 4 years and only had like a 0.6 GPA. She had 2 other kids as well. My question is, has she never looked at a report card in 4 years of him attending school? But it's not her fault. Her allergy kicked in and everybody supported it and said she was sick. It's not her fault. Just listening to different channels, listening to people say things and people having this discussion about, you know, Black women, Black mothers, how the kids be treated. We do live in a matriarchal system right now, as far as the Black community.
Yeah.
And our leadership has failed horribly. And when women hear me say that, they don't think of themselves as the leadership. They think I'm talking about men. And then I got to remind them, I said matriarchal system. Every every failure that our community has is because of the leaders that we have. And Black men haven't been, in some cases, we haven't stepped up to be leaders. In other cases, we haven't been allowed to step up to be leaders. But in either case, our leaders are our mothers, and they failed us horribly.
Yes. Yes.
So in order for us to make it a patriarchal system, we're going to have to do something that a lot of us are not going to be willing to do. We're going to have to start treating women like what they want to be treated as, and that's children.
Yes.
That's hard for me to say, just based on the way I was brought up. You know, I was brought up with my parents were married my whole life. So I didn't come from a single mother household or anything like that. My grandparents were married, you know, that whole side. But if women don't want to be accountable, but they also want to have freedom, those two things cannot work together. We constantly bring up to them, hey, there's accountability that comes with it. When you have power, you got responsibility. When you have freedom, there's certain repercussions for that freedom that you have to account for. And no matter how many times anybody tells them, they don't want to listen. They're going to have to be treated like kids, is the bottom line. That's the only way it's the only way we're going to be able to get anywhere at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you, but we're past it. Like, Ian, you were going to say something?
Yeah. He brought up the high value thing, right? Now, I sent you some information about Irony and his take on the high value. I think the attack on the concept of high value is overblown. And for a lot of reasons, we have to understand the reason why the attack on the high value is because the government and the system wants women to remain dependent on the government. So there's a concern. So whether you agree with Kevin or not, or get into him or whatever, understand he is pushing the masculine agenda forward. You know what I'm saying? He is. But here's the thing: there's going to be a ton of people, men and women, that are going to come against him, not because of his content is wrong, right? But because of the fact is he is promoting strong Black men. Period. That's what he's promoting, and Irony, in his post, that I sent you, what he said was, in a minute, high value, he's going to be saying to be with a high value man, you're gonna have to accept being raped, so the old, black male boogeyman type of thing.
Let me pull that up, because you did send me that. I'm gonna pull that up in a second, but continue.
But understand, the government, does not want Black women to be looking up to Black men. They don't want that concept to continue because they want to be the man. You understand what I'm saying? So they are going to empower women to come against the whole idea of high value, right? And my thing is, whether you agree or not, my thing is, I'm a grown man. I don't. If other men think that they're high value or not, why is that a concern of mine? You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. You know what I'm saying? I can't hate on a dude because he thinks he's high value or not, or other men think that. I don't see why other men should be even being at odds with that, whether they agree with it or not.
I think. Listen, check this out, man. I think people are getting this high value shit confused. Kevin Samuels, I think people are looking at Kevin Samuels like he's defining what high value is. No, he's only he's speaking in context of what women say they want in men, right? The high value is not just how much you make, but it's all those other things that women are saying.
Let me correct myself, because when I said it earlier, I wasn't saying it because I didn't believe it or that it exists. I was saying it because it's irrelevant for our community.
Just to add into this,
you're right, it is. It is.
Just
It is
just to
irrelevant.
briefly add
And
into this,
and you know why? And you know why it's irrelevant? Because we don't have a community like that. That's why it's irrelevant. We don't have a
Exactly.
community.
well, just to briefly add into this, obviously we know this. He didn't invent this. This has been around for eons, from the Gordon Geckos of the '80s to that Marcus Graham or Eddie Murphy character in Boomerang. I mean, this whole concept of this person exists. The problem is that many think that they qualify for it. And someone mentioned something earlier before you guys open up the panel about women in traditional roles, women cooking, and all this. Unfortunately, that's a small minority nowadays who regularly cook. And this is where we are. And you said EM community. This is why I call it the community, because the number one thing that makes up a community is families. And if you don't have families, you don't have a community.
Exactly. Exactly. And that goes to, and if you're talking about having families, you're talking about having a male patriarchy at the head. Outside of not having a man there, you don't have a family. That's just real. That's just real talk for thousands of years across the globe. If you don't have a male, a strong male figure, you don't have a family. Period.
What I do want to point out is one thing, and I'm sorry, my man, I didn't catch your name when you were just explaining how, the government and its efforts to stray Black women from respecting Black men.
Mm-hmm.
I hate whenever anybody brings that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's taking accountability away from Black women,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's true or not. It's always a choice. You have a choice of being a crackhead. Yes, it's hard. After you done did it the first time, it's probably real hard not to do it again, but it's still your choice to do it. I can't, if I'm going to listen, as Black men, we get held accountable for shit that ain't even our fault. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stuff that's not our responsibility, stuff that's not our problem, stuff that's not our fault, we still get held accountable for it. So I'm of the mindset is, if I have to be accountable for all of this and you claim to be my equal, well, guess what? You're going to have to be held accountable. So I do hear when people say that, and don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with it. But at this point in time, we all know it existed. We all know it happened, and they're still going along with it. So guess what? It's no longer the government anymore. It's them.
So
They are the government. They are the
That
government.
too.
I
That
wanna,
too. But it doesn't matter if it's the government or the ghost of Christmas past. It's irrelevant. They're choosing.
I want to,
So
yeah, I want to address that. I want to address that part. Truth teller. I'm thinking that's how you pronounce your name, truth teller, right? I like that. So,
yep, that's correct.
You said that earlier, right? Or you alluded to it, and I wanted to add on to that. I agree with you. You can't be autonomous and be liability free. You can't. It doesn't go together. Children and pets are liability free. We, as the people who are, have governance over children and pets, if our children and pets do something, then we are liable for it. Okay, anything that you have governance over, anything that happens with that, if somebody trips and falls on your property, you are liable. Understand, you can't be autonomous and then pass liability. In any other context, this is understood. You can't drive the car, get us lost, and blame me in the passenger seat because I should have told you to make a left because I'm the man. You can't do that. Oh, you let me get us lost. That's insane, right? So I am with you. I think that when we say women are children, and I've said that in the past, right? The reason why we have a problem saying that is the same reason we have a problem running a red light, because we've been trained not to.
Right.
It's a social conditioning training. It's like Pavlov's dog, right? You hear the bell, your mouth waters.
Yes.
Right. So you know, we have internalized that, but it's the truth. You know, women, they want to be children until they don't want to be children. They you know, they want that liability, that accountability to be passed somewhere else. They want the perks of being autonomous, but they don't want the responsibility of it.
Right.
And you can't have it both ways. No other context does that work. It
Right.
doesn't. So I'm with you when you say they're like children. You know, the only other part of that is, well, children and pets and things like that get disciplined. And as soon as you start talking that language, then it goes left because now you're an abuser, right?
Mhm.
So they say. So they
Right.
say.
Right. Yep.
Women have no problems disciplining their children or their pet because
Or their man. Or
I
their
had to tell
man.
one of
Or
I had
their
to tell
man.
one of my boys who recently got divorced from his wife because he's blaming himself about, yo, I should have did this way. I should have, you know, took the reins and controlled and this and that. And he's blaming himself based on what he let his wife do. And I told him before it happened, and I told him then, and I hate to be that I told you so guy. And if he's listening, I'm not going to say your name, homie, right? But he listens to some of these videos. Just I'll tell him, like I'll tell any man listening to me, you run it because anything that goes wrong will be blamed on you. And you can say, you know, you can be compared to, you know, Danny Glover, Mr. Color Purple, whatever. At the end of the day, it will be blamed on you. Anything that goes bad or goes wrong will be blamed on you because you're the de facto boss, right? It doesn't matter if she makes the same amount as you, she makes more than you. At the end of the day, because you're the quote unquote man, it will be blamed on you and she will revert back to her feminine, weaker position to point at you as the boss and, you know, it is your fault. It's like how you watch a Pirates movie and they pass that captain hat around when it's time for that ship to sink because nobody want to sink with it. Nobody want to sink with that ship. So you the captain. No, you the captain. Like that Spider-Man point at each other.
Did you look at the Ermi Twitter snapshot I sent you?
Is that the Kevin Samuels?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna bring that in right now. So yeah, so basically what Ian is talking about, he's talking about a GIF. Let me see here. Let me bring that in here. He's talking about it's a post that somebody put on Facebook on Twitter. Where is it? Here it goes. So is it up? All right, so
yeah, it's up.
So Kevin Samuels is this close to telling women, we're gonna use code words here, you need to be prepared to be graped from time to time if you want a high value man, and that's his right. If you got a problem with that, get an average guy. And the thing is, that's low key what zaddy parents and institutions have been telling their daughters for a few hundred years. I want to know what part of Kevin Samuels' message is this.
So wait, was that sounds like a very feminist girl. So is that a woman that posted that?
No. That person. No. Let me say this. That person, that dude is an academic. All right. I know. I don't know him personally, but
oh no, he's a bootleg. That's who that is.
Yeah.
That's who that is. That's a bootleg.
And he's a straight up. He's a straight up.
There.
Yeah, he's a straight up Marxist type. You know, all things should be equal. All you know, he's one of those. Types.
Let me say it for y'all so y'all don't get in trouble. He's a coon. Is what that is. That's coon talk.
I'm not. No. You said what talk?
Coon talk.
Nah. I think that he's just a feminist in disguise, typical academic who's tenured, so he doesn't have to worry about being competitive or competing. And he's seeing a lot of these content creators seeing a guy like Kevin getting all this traction, and they doing this or whatever. And for the record, I don't agree with everything Kevin say, but I do want to add into this. this sounds just like something that, I mean, a ratchet type of female. All women ain't ratchet.
Yeah,
I gotta say that.
that's exactly who I thought said it. Yep.
You know, it sounds like, and this dude is a highly tenured scholar. Where I'm like, show me anywhere that he said anything remotely, resembling that. I mean, it's funny. You ask people, and y'all was saying this before I joined the panel. You ask people. I think the issue is when I said it's cultural. Many of us, unfortunately, we don't like standards. We don't like structure. Anything that's associated with standards or structure, we reject it. You know, what's wrong with a woman being a plus size 18? You know, how about diabetes, hypertension, and all this? Well,
nothing if she wants to die early and alone. That's
right.
cool.
You know, but you tell them about structure and standards, but you look at, and it's not like I could see if post-slavery, Jim Crow, black codes, and all this, that this is what the woman looked like. But we didn't start seeing this. And when I say look like, I don't mean just physical. I mean having this mentality. You know, I started seeing this in like the mid 80s when I was still young. And I'm like, it's something different. I'm not sure what. This is all a part of, you said, I believe it was Brother Ian. He had said it's about the government. I say it's bigger, but I don't want to get into the 5 families and all that. But this is all propaganda. And again, as long as you're feeding the system, you'll need the system. This is why when y'all had mentioned earlier about what you're going to give back to the hood, or you should be giving back. You're like, hold on. What have you done to deserve any of my time and my knowledge? You know, and this doesn't apply to all. I'm just simply saying it's funny how people have this collectivist mentality when it's something of yours that they want, but they don't want to work for that themselves. You know, it's crazy. It's bizarro land, to be honest with you, just like this post.
So check it. I'm going to catch up with these comments, and then I'm going to have Keena jump in here. So Hybrid Ninja Perspective, what's good? So he says most of these lovely ladies don't want a high value man. They want a great value sucker sip. All right. Ice Cube tried to step up, and look who was against him. All right, this goes to prove, I think I read this. This goes to prove that black women only want ready-made men. Their inherent laziness is the issue with too many of their personal flaws. I agree with Jamil. I feel like women do a lot more to try to bend the world into accepting their shortcomings and flaws than to actually just improve them. Improve them. Just fix yourself. All right, and that's easier. All right, so let's catch up. He said we still have to account for the state's role. Absolutely, because these women would not be able to do any of this stuff without the state. All right, so HMP says he's a typical academic virtue signaling. I don't know who that guy is. It's my first time seeing him.
He used to be down with light complexion chick who came up with the term ADOS. I can't think of her name.
Oh, you talking about
Yvette Carnell. They used to be.
Yeah, Yvette Carnell. Yep.
So he said, I'm only interested in helping these young males. The community can't be saved. I am of like mind with you. So what I'm gonna have is Keena jump in here. I want you. Well, first I'm gonna say this, right, Keena. Again, I just to clarify, when we talk about Kevin Samuels or anything related to that, or if you want to address something else, but just to say this about Kevin Samuels, right? I have no issue with Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels is saying everything that I said in the early 90s. Okay. In the early 90s, I was saying this stuff. When I went to Erasmus Hall in Brooklyn, New York, I was saying all this stuff. Of course, there was no internet. There was nothing to back me up. There was no consensus. It was just looking at me like I was a nutcase. I ain't got nothing against Kevin Samuels. I think that when he says high value is about fish and bait, right? So a worm is high value to a fish. You catch fish with worms, right? So you don't catch fish with a steak dinner. And we like steak, but fish don't eat steak. They eat worms, right? So in the context of women, what they put high on the list and what they're looking for men represents high value, doesn't mean that that's the true definition. It just means in the context of what they seek, these are the attributes that they say they want. So we can say, oh, well, you know, a high value man could be, you know, virtuous and this, that, and the third. Yeah, that's the way we see it. But again, you're trying to catch fish with a steak dinner. That is what we see as high value. What they see is high value, and what they tend to go after is these standards and attributes right here, whether we agree with it or not. And what his point of view is if this is what you're looking for, ladies, this is what you have to be to qualify for that. For that idea, that standard. Shout out to Tice, right? Shout out to Tice. You know, thanks for joining us, man. And you know, please, you know, jump in again and you know, let me get that thumbs up, bro. So,
but you know what was also problematic.
But hold on. Before we go somewhere else with it, I gotta let Keena speak because she's been waiting. But all I'm saying is that is the only thing that he's pushing forward. He's saying that he's only saying he's not defining high value from a realistic definition. He's defining high value from what attributes they're seeking in men. Before you jump in, Ian, Keena, speak your mind because you've been waiting for a little while.
Patience is a virtue. All ideas and thoughts that were expressed were definitely understood and felt. I will say this, that I don't agree with Kevin Samuels 100%, but there are things that I do agree with him on. One of those being the Black women's inability to understand what is required of the set notion of lifestyle that they want to live and what is required of that. The type of man that they say that they want, would they really be the type of woman that said man would want? And that is realistic, which is why some women do have that false fairy tale mindset that they are Cinderella or the maiden or damsel in distress, right? But what they don't realize is men of that value, why would they want a liability? They would want something of an asset. And to kind of encompass all that was said is, yes, systematically, it is designed for us Black women, essentially, to be against, you said Black man. We are to relive these triggers and notions and be angry as such, right? But demand unrealistic expectations of you. And I think for some Black women, the false sense of entitlement that this is what we deserve. We not only deserve the 40 acres and a mule, but we deserve to keep our foot on your neck because you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And blaming, because essentially, yes, a lot of Black women are grown girls. They are broken little girls, heartbroken, didn't have this, didn't have that. Daddy wasn't here. I'm missing this. I'm missing that. I don't feel complete. So therefore, in that incompletion, they take it out on Black men that they come around or know or fall in love with, and they hold them to these ridiculous standards. Again, however, said behavior is learned behavior, but to bring it back to the allergy to accountability, I agree with you, Marcus, and what you said earlier, in such as men, you gonna have to be stingy. No, I think that was Ian actually, man. You just gonna have to be stingy with yourselves, what you offer, but are you really going to do that? And not to say that it's on you to do so, because that is not your job. I will definitely say that you are not required to do such. But as a feminine woman myself, and having to deal with some of these women and listening to what they say and what they're mad about, essentially, it is going to require for you to kind of turn your back, because it's nothing but a temper tantrum. And how long are you going to allow that temper tantrum to keep going? And so Kevin Samuels, and why a lot of Black women don't like him, is because he's not for the temper tantrum. They get an attitude, they start acting up, but he'll hang up on them. Thought that was funny. I seen that happen. They don't like to be told the truth. And again, unrealistic expectations, that Cinderella mindset, fairy tale, living in Disney, false pretenses, but media, society, government play a part in that. But it's also upon us as women to really say, I don't want to be or do that. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, I like that input. Quick question. You have more connection to in order to correction of some kind.
I didn't hear your question fully. Can you ask me one more
So,
time?
Of some kind.
Correction? I am going to be fully transparent. Yes. There needs to be some type of form of correction, and it's nothing wrong with correction. I think we walk on eggshells when we talk about correction because it's viewed, oh, you do this or this Me Too. It has kind of gotten out of hand with the sensitivity to around certain things that were forms of structure in a sense. Now, am I all about abuse? No. But at the same time, if you are endangering a man's life, I believe he has every right to choke your ass out. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to
I
take
didn't
it
mean
there,
that kind
but
of correction. Sorry.
no,
I
no,
didn't mean that
no, no,
kind
no.
of
But
correction.
no, no,
No.
no.
I meant
I'm just saying,
communal
like,
correction. That's what I meant. I didn't
you know,
mean
no,
a man
yes,
physically
no, yes.
correcting a woman. I meant communal.
No, not in a physical sense. I'm just gonna bring it to the mat in that form. But in a sense, yes, when a sister steps out of line, there should be some type of, hey, hold on, wait a minute, what are we doing? This is, and whether it come from another sister or whether it come from the brother himself, that form of correction should be accepted because correction shouldn't be looked at as a form of negativity or something bad, but in a form of enhancement, something you didn't see, right? Because men are different from women for a reason, and men see things from what perspective? A masculine men perspective. So if I want to understand masculine men, which I am not a masculine man, right? So I understand my place as a woman. I'm not a man. I'm not going to understand what a man does. I do not stand up to use the toilet. So I just think I'm just not going to know. But respect when I am given, hey, I seen this, and you might want to change that. Don't look at that as a bad thing because your loudness, your rudeness, your curtness could be seen or portrayed or even stereotyped in this manner. Black women don't like the stereotype that is associated with them, but forget who created the stereotype in the first place. And not even because of the situations. We should have handled certain situations differently, we can say. But the only reason why people consider you loud and atrocious and this and that of the third is because you behave in said such manner. Whether you under the influence of alcohol, you're hanging out with your girlfriends, whatever. If you're single, you thotting. The only reason why thotting became so popular is thought music these days, right? And everybody wants to be a thought now. Being a thought is a good thing, right? But who made that popular? Women. So you cry over the spilled milk that you spilled yourself.
Hey, I want Ian to jump in because he's been holding. Ian, you still got your thought you wanted to say, or did we take it too far? Ian, you there? All right, hold on, Ian. So what I'm gonna do is I want to address.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so yeah, I want you to say what you were gonna say before. Then I want to respond to some of the things that have been said, and then we're gonna go to Mad Black Masculinist question because he has a good question in the comment section. So, go ahead, Ian.
Okay, so a lot of the issue, because there are specific things, that you can debate, for and against Kevin Samuels, but the overall tenor, and especially when we're talking about Iron, what he was saying, he doesn't like the fact of the market value concept that he's bringing forth. he doesn't like the fact that the market should decide value. He's saying that there should be inherent human spiritual value, and that's how we should conduct our relationships. He doesn't like the idea of having a capitalist model of relationships. That's basically, in a nutshell, what he's saying. Capitalism, basically, he's saying when you have capitalism and masculine energy, he's saying that it, basically always is going to turn to abuse. Basically, is what he's saying. He's saying you can't let the market decide value, and then at the same time have men be the ones who are deciding what the value is in that market. Basically,
let me tell you why that's bullshit. Let me tell you why. Well, there was something else you're gonna add to that, but that's
no. Go ahead.
Let me tell you why that's bullshit. I'm gonna respond to you. Then I gotta respond to a few things, and then mad black masculineness. Okay, so when it comes to correction, understand correction falls under the same umbrella as authority. In terms of who has it, who doesn't, who's allowed to give correction, and who's allowed to use authority, right? And when it comes to black men, anything that we correct comes off as what we've been taught about us is violent, aggressive, abusive, and things of that nature. And the thing about structure, same thing, falls under that. Structure for some reason has been associated with white people, as if white people invented structure, or they invented civilized behavior or civilization, period. Right? So when you tell people, yo, don't act like this, or act like that, this is a better way to conduct yourselves, they associate that with white supremacy. And that's when you hear respectability politics and this type of stuff, in reference to black women. Just understand, these things only go one way. If you say, what black women should do, this, that, and the third, that is viewed as, abusive or oppressive or whatever. I remember when they weren't letting black men in certain places with their jeans sagging, and nobody made noise about it. Right? Nobody screamed respectability politics, none of that shit. You couldn't go in the mall, you couldn't go in certain stores if you were sagging. All right. Mm-hmm. So those rules apply to us only. Another thing is, and this is in reference to I think it's Kevin Samuels, and the thing you just said, you was talking about Kevin Samuels and I think sexual marketplace value. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Women have no problem every day telling men what they need to do, what they need to be, what they need to have to get with them. Mm-hmm. They have no problem doing that. Kevin Samuels' whole platform is based on women calling in, demanding or looking for a man that makes a certain income. That's his whole shtick. It's like going to Maury and don't expect to take a paternity test or something. His whole platform is based on women calling in, looking for men that make a certain salary. That is SMV right there all day. So if you're gonna say that there shouldn't be something called SMV, then women should not be able to address that either. Understand, this is all one-way bullshit. Yeah. Women tell you what kind of man they want. They tell you how tall he need to be, how fit he need to be, how he needs to be dressed, what he needs to have, and what he needs to give them. Mm-hmm. Women's list for who they deal with is way longer than ours. Everybody who calls into Kevin Samuels' show is told, how do you rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 10? Or they're asked, how do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your size? How much you weigh? Everything based on physical appearance. That is all women have to do. Women have one job to do, is look good and don't bring no drama. Look good and don't bring no drama. So when what do you bring to the table? He might ask him where they went to school and all that stuff. But to be honest, we don't care. We don't care. Just rock with us. Enjoy what we bring. Don't be too needy, right? Don't cost us too much. Don't be taxing on our pockets and on our mental, right? That's all. That's an easy thing to do. And what women are doing is they're trying to prove that they can do the opposite and still get worthy men. And they're wrong. They're being proven wrong. All right. So as far as him saying SMV, it would seem to me, and whoever that guy, I don't know if it's this guy from Twitter that said this. I've said this before, and I want everybody to hear this. People want men to take an altruistic approach to choosing women, while women take a pragmatic approach to choosing men.
Yes.
Remember this. Remember I said that. Okay? So now, I said that to now I want to address black masculinist, because he asked a question. He says, fair question. He says, is it possible the entitlement of being an HMV could lead to sexual violence for the wives of those men? So I'm going to answer this first, right? And then I want everybody to address this question. Is it possible for the entitlement of being a high value man could lead to the sexual violence for wives of those men? I think high value man, low value man. To be honest, I think a high value man is less likely to demonstrate sexual violence on his woman, than some dude from around the way. Understand, this man is controlling his woman with his income. To be honest, a man that would demonstrate sexual violence is irrespective, to be honest, in my opinion, of income, right? But if
that's just a weird dude.
Yeah, if you look at who's being more violent than who isn't, it ain't the guys at the top making the most money, especially with the disposition of the guys who are in that income bracket. They're not like physically aggressive guys, right? So I'm gonna start with
Let me. Hey, can I jump in first?
You wanna respond to this?
Yes. Yeah.
You have something else to say?
Yeah, because I want to piggyback on what you're saying.
Okay, so yeah, do that and then respond to my man right here. He's asking a question, but that's my view on that. I think it's less likely, even though I think the two things are they're mutually exclusive for the most part. I think that it's more likely that a woman will be dealing with violence or sexual violence from a lower income guy. And I ain't talking about a blue collar guy. I'm talking about bottom feeder. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, so I think, but see, here's what Kevin Samuel says about high value men in the first place. He says, first of all, high value men mostly use sexual discipline and aren't even having sex like that. He's saying they're so busy and have so much responsibility, they're not even having sex on a regular basis like that. You understand what I'm saying?
To add, not only that, somebody with bread wouldn't even be beholden to one person. It would be a joke. It would be just like New Jack City. Cancel that joint. I'll buy a new one. They would literally laugh at her like, "Where I have bread,
Thank
right?
you. Thank
I
you.
will go and get something
Options.
else right now.
Options.
In your face. And you will stay because you're broke and I'm not."
That's why I called. That's why that comment I said. I immediately said cool.
So I don't know why that was brought up for that type of dude. I'm not in that category, but they don't get down like that. Like my homies
too,
go places and they're open about it. So
But you know too, I think what was problematic when he's saying that, okay, that basically Kevin Samuels is going to be like an abusive white man. He's basically saying that the only white men that rape their wives are high value white men. How about that? So he's basically, with his statement, is letting white men off the hook. The rape culture that exists within their culture, he's basically saying that, oh no, only the white men who are capitalists do that, instead of saying, okay, the white culture itself is degenerate. You see what I'm saying? So he's
Right.
letting off the evil of white culture by even saying that the high value is what is equated to rape within the white culture.
That is true, because you see that degeneracy in all walks of life over there, and he's really, really letting them off the hook. I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but you see they're politicians, statistically, who's attacking vulnerable populations, both male and female, at a higher rate. That's that group of people, and he's associating that with moneyed black men who are probably the most monitored people on the planet. In the US, like right now, a black man with money would be. So they wouldn't even be able to get away with that.
Yeah. So I guess
if you have if you're renting a nice car, they're gonna be on you. So let alone like being the owner of several businesses and this man's pandering. Like, this is quite obvious. He's trying to find a new lane. He has something to sell, and he needs to drum up that base. And the fastest way to drum up that base is to put black men under a bad light. And the first thing he has to do is to get the person that's the most prominent, and that would be KS, because I'm not gonna mention his name.
So truth teller, did you speak to this question?
No, I haven't. But y'all proving my case for the coonery and bootlicking. So
all right, so go ahead.
Well, the reason why I said, when you read that off and you guys told me who said it, that was the first thing I said. The reason being is because it's illogical, first off.
No, but this question, I'm talking about the entitlement of high value man leading to sexual violence.
That's what I'm talking about.
The word entitlement was bait.
It was. It's literally illogical, because if you have it, that's not you being entitled. That's you being a realist, right? Entitled means you don't have it, but you think you do.
Or you think you're owed. It's owed to you.
It's owed to you because you're you. You have this value that you haven't earned or that you don't deserve.
I think what he's saying is the entitlement of being an HMV. In other words, he's in black masculineness. Let me know if I'm right about what I'm saying here. The entitlement of being high value, meaning he feels that he's entitled to his wife's physical.
Right.
So, again, I said what I had to say on it. I don't think
so
that.
I want to dig a little deeper so it's clear on what I'm saying, why that's illogical. So even if a high value man feels he's entitled to have sex with his wife, which any husband would feel that way because they earn being with their wife. Yeah. So it's not just high value men he's targeting in that one statement. But let's just say a high value man feels entitled, let's use the word the way it was said, that they could have sex with their wife. Why would they have to grape that woman when they have options and when they provide a lifestyle she cannot get anywhere else? It's illogical. It's stupid. Is what it is. It was a shot to try to make it look like something. Now, of course, there's some people that can't think logically and will say, you know what? They're right. They must be attacking people. They must be attacking women. But women are the ones that give high value men their value.
I think the wives of high value men are more likely to deal with infidelity than they are sexual violence. But the idea, like, that a man, whether he be high value or any value, has to be violent with his wife sexually to get sex, that means that marriage is over.
It's over.
You understand what I'm saying? Why Why would a man have to use sexual violence to have sex with his own wife? Like, that's kind of, I'm not
It's
saying it doesn't happen or anything like that,
right,
but at that
exactly.
point,
Yeah.
when you were refusing that, and the whole idea of marriage is exclusivity, right? You know, is almost like saying, okay, well, if your wife said, well, you can't eat anywhere outside of this house, you can't eat fast food, another woman can't cook for you, you know, none of that, right? You can't do none of that. One day you don't feel like cooking. What happens then? Do I just not eat? Right? Right? Now I can't go in there and fix the food, or I can't, you know, pick you up, put you in the kitchen and violently make you cook, right? Because that's
Right.
great. That's great. It's grape soda,
Grape
right?
soda.
So a high value man couldn't go out to a very expensive restaurant and drop a few dollars on a very nice meal, if you understand what I'm saying, right? So I would imagine that this is less likely to happen, and it, to me, is ridiculous that a man at that level would have to be violent to get sex from his wife. I'm going to ask the woman on the panel, how does she feel about this question right here?
Well, I am going to say this just to give context and a little transparency. As a former sugar baby, I dealt with men who had wealth, and rather than fight with their wife, they just would pay for me to go to dinner, and then we would do whatever it is that we did, and then we go about our business. Um, tend to be more direct, but not in the sense in the form of abuse, but just in a sense of you know, when we're in public, you behave a certain way, which it's not wrong with that, right?
I'm sorry. I
But
want to thank you for your contribution to the peace of the community, ma'am. Thank you.
but I will say that I have found that men who felt inferior to those type of men or lacked money thereof tend to be more aggressive and more abusive in that retrospect towards any woman, not just their wives, girlfriends, moms, and just abusive in general. Nature and behavior of the male is that of anger. So, but I mean, again, there are your one-off situations or couple-off situations, whatever you want to call it, that have happened. But more often than not, they are not going to fight with their wives, because whether she will, someone else. If she wants, someone else will. So, like you said, they tend to deal more with infidelity issues than they do abuse per se. As for this
Bars.
comment, you know, I think sometimes sometimes people like to hear themselves talk and it sounded good in their head, so they thought when they would write it or put that thought out, it'd be a good idea. And so I initially think this person wrote this with a good idea, but it's not. It's actually really, yeah. We're just gonna leave them where they are. But yeah, I don't.
So we at the 3 hour mark. In a second, we're gonna start coming down the hill. So I want to address some of these comments here. And Black Masculinist has another question for you, Keena. Okay, so I like Irami as a philosopher of freedom, liberty, but he do be too soft on black women. Don't they all be though? You know, these especially the pro-black dudes, man. Even though he often attacks feminism, instead of calling HMV grape sodarists, he should be calling HVM seekers prostitutes. Absolutely. All right. So how much money he needs to make, right? So I think a woman would most likely deal with violence from somebody at the same level as she, simply because it's more of a competition pissing contest that she could turn into a rivalry. Not only that, but someone below her level, Showtime, because I know these people.
Yep, she can call the boys her boys. It's a good story to have at the table, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's always a control mechanism, and statistically they're most likely to initiate violence with people that at that level, because they know that they'll respond with violence. Like, I know he's gonna do this, I know this is gonna happen, and I won't be replaced. So it's correct.
Yeah, so like, I know a couple situations where, I know girls who, or women who choose men way below, right? And they seek to control them either through finances or, like Mega said, like, I run get them people or whatever, and the shit goes violent all the time, right? Again, these are guys who are violent by nature, right? But that's the guys that they want. I mean, we spoke on that earlier. So we're gonna go to Mad Black Masculinist, and he says, Makina, what about Kevin Samuels you don't agree with? Did you disagree with him?
I said I didn't agree with him fully. And
So what part, I guess?
so certain aspects of things that he has said, I did not agree with, and that being with some of the rating of the women, and the saying that they wouldn't get, and certain comments of that nature. Whereas, again, in my previous life, you'd be quite surprised as the type of women you would see in certain places. They managed to scathe their way through some way, somehow. It's like, oh my gosh, how the hell did you get here? But they're there. So some of those women, in looking at them in a certain aspect, I have seen some of the richest men have some of the most interesting looking, and please forgive me when I say this, cow, SpongeBob, Patrick shaped women of all different colors and sizes, and they love them. For whatever reason.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this.
I have a question after his question.
I'm gonna say this, right? And what I'm gonna say is not a question, but I want to say something in reference to what she said. And I want her to respond to it. The argument that could be made, Keena, is a few things could be said. Number one, that could be the woman who was there before the blow up, right? That's one. Number two, because I mean, you look at most rappers and their wives or baby mothers don't look like the girls in their videos, but them women were there from Jump Street, right? And yeah, that's one. Number two, they could be into those types of chicks, and that's a niche minority. Right. For the most part, what Kevin Samuels is saying is true. That when we get this and that, the types of women that we tend to at least want to mate with. I don't, everybody has their standard for what they want to put a ring on, right? But what they want to go after and deal with, mate with, or whatever, is really about a certain set of features that there's a consensus going on amongst men, at least. And the last question I want to ask you, you said you disagree with some of his ratings. Give us an example of a woman you think he rated unfairly, from your point of view, and I guess we'll either agree or we'll give you a perspective as to why she got rated. Because you're the girl and there's none but dudes in here. We'll tell you why she got the number she got.
I mean, and the problem is one, I don't care to remember their names, so I can't even begin to give you who they were. But there were some that, for me, I didn't think she looked as bad as he may have felt she looked, or her attributes were as off as he may have said. Again, I'm not saying the man is perfect, and I don't disagree with everything that he said. It's just my aspects on what I think may not align with how he thinks. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for the most part, generally, as he speaks towards women and what women should do, as well as men, I do like the dual accountability. Kevin let Kevin do what Kevin does.
Nah. You have to give me at least one example of like, even if you don't remember her name or nothing, best you can describe what the conversation was, because all of us dudes in here, we see some real booger wolves calling the Kevin Samuels about they want 6-figure dudes.
Well,
And
hold on. What I think there's some context we want to add to her perspective that she needs to understand. Quick question: do you date women?
I've dated women.
But do you focus on dating women, or are you planning to marry a woman if you plan to get married?
No.
Okay.
All right.
That's your perspective is going to be a lot different than ours. But I'm sorry, answer the question, please.
But that aside, right? I'm talking about on strictly looks. Like, you know, what when you saw him rate or underrate a female, what was it based on? Was it based on looks? Was it based on other things?
It was one of the. Now, her overall attitude, I did agree with him on. Her look, I think he gave her like a 4 or something like that. And to me, I didn't think she was a 4 because she was not ugly looking young lady, in my opinion. So some women he has, thank you, Afro Shop, he rates as a 4 or 5. Some he does a 6, but there are some that I have seen. I'm like, okay, bro, 4, like you could have gave for more than that. But that's just
not agreeing with you. He's saying that Kevin Samuels is overrating women, not underrated them. So he's basically saying girls be 4s and 5s, and he'll rate them as a 6. So he's giving them.
For me, but that's his opinion. And you might have somebody who says that they don't agree that the women up. I don't watch all the women that come up there. There was one young lady. She was a little belligerent, but she was more of a brown skinned young lady. To me, in my mind, she was not a 4. To me, the way she looked and the way she was presented, she did not look like a 4. She actually looked better than a 4 to me. But again, remember, I appreciate, and I'm not sure who just made that comment to me. I appreciate what he just said. He just asked me a question as what I did as a woman, and then his response was, I'm not going to look at it the same as you would. So what a 5, 6, or 7 will look like to me may not be a 5, 6, 7 to you as men. But as far as a whole, when he grades them as a whole, not just off physicality, I don't think he is far off, especially from behaviors and attitudes.
So let me ask you this, just so we can get kind of a gauge on your rating process. Who would you rate an 8? Somebody we know, a famous person.
Somebody we know. Who I would rate an 8?
An 8, because he doesn't do 7s. So there's 8 and there's 6. So who would you rate an 8?
So an 8 to me would be like,
what's this, Dad?
She's more of a 9, but if close to 8, 9 area, that's like a Nia Long to me.
Wow.
You mean back in the day, Nia Long?
Yes.
That's an 8 or 9 to you, for real?
To me, she's an 8 or 9. See what I'm saying? And you see how that was his response. So for me, the reason why it's different is because the reason why she's an 8 or 9 to me, it wasn't just necessarily her look, it was her body shape for me as well. So
Nia, or you talking about the girl that was on his show? Because we all
Nia Long. So
okay,
for me, I was just saying for me why, just explaining why she wasn't a 10 to me. It just was also body wise. I like more curves than that. So
yeah.
So my opinion of an 8 is going to be different than your opinion of an 8. You know what I mean? So your opinion of Nia Long is going to be different than mine.
Give me a 6. Who's a 6? Shouldn't take you long, because now
I laughed when I thought about it, but a 6 to me, this is gonna be crazy. But a 6 to me is like Beyonce. I don't like Beyonce. She's a 6 to me.
What you say,
gentlemen? I see what she means. She don't like the light-skinned Houston cheerleader type joint. Because if you lived in Texas, Beyonce, like there's a lot in Houston and Santa. There's mad of them, so she don't like the airhead. But I would put her above Nia Long because Nia Long you can find a lot of her in New York. Like it's a regional thing to me.
I get it, and I'm a New Yorker, so
Ah,
I consider Nia Long a strong 7.
yeah.
See, you consider her a strong 7. So for me, again, different being a woman.
Consider her a strong 7. Because I mean, when you talk about like 8s and 9s, you're getting up there. Because a 10 is that's not something you just throw out there. That's like a 5 mic rating in the source.
Yeah, that's a unicorn. Yeah.
So like, and mind you, this conversation is just based on appearance. Let's take all the virtue and all of that shit out of the conversation with the rating. What I'm saying is I will rate Nia Long 7. She's not bad looking, but there's plenty in Hollywood that's above Nia Long. So you got to leave a little breathing room between that 7 and that 10 for you to get your 8s and 9s.
She's like a high level dope boy baby mom look to me, or somebody like if you were very
I'd give her a
was
6,
popular
a high
college
6.
dude.
Yeah.
You give Nia Long
like
you give Friday Nia Long a 6?
Yeah, I give her a high 6, not quite a 7.
Nah, that I wouldn't do. I give her a strong 7. And he says no 7s, but I give her a strong 7. Right?
It's close.
Like 8, 9 is more like I'd say, what would you dudes rate Kelly Rowland?
9.
She's up there, yeah. 8 high 8, 9. I give her that.
She's definitely like facial structure is higher than a Nia Long. That's why I wouldn't say like.
So for me, yes, Kelly Rowland is up there. She's a 9 for me. So yeah, I don't know.
Toni Braxton, Raider.
I don't like Toni.
That don't mean you can't rate her.
When you guys in the comment section rate the women, put their name next to them because we get your comments a little delayed from the conversation, so we ain't gonna know who you're rating. So Afro Shop,
she would need to be on my radar. Like I don't like Toni. That's why I said that. I don't. But I guess if I had to go for looks, for me, 5, 4, 5 maybe.
Toni Braxton?
Yeah, I just don't like Toni Braxton.
Okay. All right.
She looks weird to me.
Janet.
Which Janet? Janet before her nose or Janet after her nose?
I was just gonna mention that school bus nose.
All right,
Janet before the work or Janet after the work? Which Janet you talking?
Bernadette Stannis.
Who?
Oh, ooh, oh man. Okay, all right. I see where you coming from with that one.
Talking about Thelma. Good times.
Oh, I didn't hear the name originally. Thelma Good Times to me was Fine Like Wine, Honey. That's an up there 9.
Yeah, now we talking.
She was fine. That was hella fine right there.
Now we talking, man. All right, man. So we gonna close this one out. We're gonna get the closing statements, man. Black women's allergy to accountability. Why are we here? Why do we have it? Oh, Afro Shop says, let's bring it up. Nia is 7, Kelly is 8, Braxton is 7. I don't disagree with that. I think that's reasonable. Me personally, I've never been blown away by Toni Braxton. Nia Long, to me, Nia Long is a stronger 7 than Braxton. I think Nia Long looks better than Toni Braxton. That's just my opinion. And Kelly is Kelly. Kelly is like model faced. And I'm a guy who's been in the business of shooting models. Kelly is model faced. Like she got the whole bone structure and all of that. Like, she's model faced. But yeah, Afro Shop, I'm with you on that one. So allergy to accountability. Where does this come from? Is it how much of the state is involved, how much of it is our, enabling simping that done got us here, because it doesn't come from nowhere. You go to other environments, other places, this doesn't exist. You go to third world countries, there's no allergy to accountability to those women down there. It doesn't exist. So this is a thing in the West. In Western developed nations, we have this allergy to accountability. I'm gonna start with Truth Teller. Truth Teller, how did we get here? To give me your closing argument.
We got here by first world benefits. Accountability cannot exist with first world benefits and unaccounted ego. That's just what it boils down to. Women's ego got big. They were the center stage of things for the last 40, 50, 60 years. And now men are speaking up. It sounds like curse words. My honest opinion, and I know I mentioned this earlier in the discussion, either treat them like children or treat them like equals. I go the direction of treating them like equals. They don't want to really know what it feels like to be a man out here, but they want the power. So with the power comes the responsibility. I think they need to taste of that for a little while before we can have any corrections. That's it.
Mega.
Yeah, I think the center of it a lot of the time is sales and hustler culture, and that's combined with the simping. Like specifically Irami, the chick he was running with before, which is Yvette Carnell. She don't even rock with intersectionality, and she's a whole rainbow woman. So you can see this man is trying to get another consumer base. And if you go into another conversation we've had before, from Tupac on to other people, this pandering and catering and the joint is always right because they have the most money to buy things. So you can't offend the customer. This man is trying to get new customers. So people need to get sales and hustler culture out of there, or be honest about sales and stop trying to attract customers in that manner. Even though it works, it's bad for society.
Right.
Ian,
Yes. All right. My
what's
take.
going on? Mm-hmm.
My take. Because you had a post, and I think you might have reposted it, where the overweight chick said it was racist and anti-black to use the term obese. All right, that was a black woman saying that. All right, so this is how we got here. Is because we allowed black women to say everything is victimization. Anytime you hold her accountable, she's saying, and she can say that she's a victim of racism and sexism and everything under the sun. when in fact the term obese comes from the medical profession. How did she turn that into anti-black and and racist? I have no idea.
You know what I think it is? Wow, I don't know because I wasn't born during the late 60s, 70s. I was born in the early 80s, 84. I don't know what brothers are doing when they was when they were forming intersectionality, but I don't think we got the information on time. Maybe there was some type of gap, or they just did it in secret on the low. But people need to adapt and see what that is. Like, see what it is for itself. Like, be completely and totally honest about what it's for, and then begin dismantling it.
Yeah, because intersectionality now they use it for everything. Everything is intersectional with black people now.
Yeah, because they were allowed to enter a certain market, and they had a lot of assistance, coming from even from Michelle Wallace and Miss Magazine with Gloria Steinem. Like, she was a relative nobody in the movement, and somebody boosted her and put her on a national platform. She is basically like a music industry plant, like a Megan Thee Stallion or Doja Cat type person, but way back then without the music. So they planted this girl, had her in this picture with Shorty for that iconic picture, and the male equivalent didn't exist until now. And we're not shaking hands with the equivalent. We're not raising fists with Chad or Johnny. We still on op time with that. So it's a
Well,
totally different paradigm.
let me add this. You talking about a gap? I'm gonna say that the gap. The myth of the superwoman. I guess Michelle Wallace or someone wrote that. right?
Yep,
So
correct.
she she
69.
she admitted she admitted herself in that book, because someone sent me a screenshot. She said that black women start over every generation because the black mothers do not teach black women and their daughters anything, and they basically start over every generation from scratch trying to figure things out. And so if you're starting over trying to figure things out from scratch every time, you're going to get all the propaganda that the culture is selling you. You're gonna buy it up, and even by the time that you wade through it all, it's too late for these black women. So that's part of the problem is that black women are failing their daughters to educate them. And like I said, the myth of the black superwoman, she admitted this.
And you know what's wild? It was kind of a half truth because they have a whole playbook that they keep passing down to each other to deal with us. They use the same tactics from generation to generation, the same insults, to the point of where we have the playbook. We have the insults listed. We have their big three. What you gonna say? I'm broke. What you gonna say? I have a little wee wee. What you gonna say? I'm a homophile. You have these three jokes. Just the big three.
Yep,
Just something
yep.
goofy that girls be
But
saying.
that's all they pass on. All they pass on is how
Look
they think
what's
they can dominate us.
watching.
Outside of that, they are not adding value. So that's why they hate this high value, because there's no high value woman equivalent. That's really why they hate it. And to have the high value woman equivalent, you have to have mothers teaching their daughters, instead of just letting them languish and trying to figure it out on their own every generation.
Okay, Kina. Final thoughts. Black women's allergy to accountability. Allergicness is
Hit
not a
them, hit
word.
them, hit
That
them.
girl
Um,
in the picture looked like a Cabbage Patch doll in the face. My bad. Go ahead. Keep going.
Wow. A women's allergy to accountability um, is multifaceted. I believe we discussed all points of it this evening, stemming down from the start of the family on into the society, as well as enabling contributions of the world. Um, but that will come to an end. And I do believe that men will be tired soon. And the tides will change, so to speak. And I'll be here for it. And that's my final thought.
okay, so
Amen. Amen to that.
I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna be out of here. All of you got interesting points. It's like I said, this doesn't exist outside of this space because it can't. See, all of these, all of these things, whether it be feminism and what's this guy? He said, all of most of these, everything we're talking about is a result of feminism. And I agree with Cortez. Understand, feminism can't exist outside of a space where women have safety nets. The safety nets were put there by patriarchy. You can't complain about the safety net of patriarchy while being feminist, saying you're oppressed. Oppression, and I heard it mentioned earlier, oppression implies that you're being blocked from access to something, freedoms and this and that. Like, there is power being used against you, and every 5 minutes, Black women remind us that we're not the state and we don't have power. So we cannot oppress you. Okay, you can open up your nail salon, your hair shop, or whatever business. You can sell your bundles, and we can't stop you from doing it. You don't have to go through us to get that money. We ain't your OnlyFans. We ain't, Facebook. We ain't any of these systems that you use daily, and we are not the law enforcement arm of this nation. We cannot stop you. You do not have to go through us to get the progress. You do not have to cooperate with us to get the progress. None of that stuff, right? So at the end of the day, we can't oppress you. That's number one. So starting there, this allergy to accountability comes from them learning not only through the environment, social cues, and directly that nothing is their fault. Every anything that they do, nothing should happen to them. They should not suffer any consequences of any kind. The fact that people, especially other women, make excuses for their bad behavior. Men who want the attention or the adoration or the validation of these women make excuses for their bad behavior. They blame men for anything that these women do or anything that happens to them. I think it's insane that someone can do something and blame someone else. That's some shaggy, it wasn't me shit. You know, I saw you on the counter. It wasn't me. Right? You could tell somebody, well, I only did that because you made me. Look what you made me do. Ain't that what the abusers say?
It was postpartum depression. It was my dog too. Remember
So
that.
yeah, so we get all of these. We tend to, as a society, we tend to rescue women from accountability to the point where they are entitled to that. They are entitled. The entitlement. If we're gonna talk about entitlement, women they feel like they're entitled to their humanity. They demand it no matter what. You know, if they get upset, if they're in their feelings justifies any bad behavior of any kind. Let me mute you for a second. You sound like you at the racetrack, brother. Yeah. So, any bad behavior of any kind at any and nothing is supposed to happen to them. They can walk down the street naked and nobody will attack them. I think it's commonly understood that if we go to the projects and we got jewelry on, we might get robbed, but and the person that robs us is still wrong for robbing us, but we know that our bad judgment contributed to us getting robbed. And I think that women have been told, no matter, if they go to the club and they get twisted, falling apart in a mini skirt, nothing should happen to them. And I agree, nothing should happen to them, but this is the real world, and people are looking to do shit to you, just like they're looking to do shit to us. And to be honest, more shit happens to us than it happens to you.
Right.
And I got the numbers to prove it. More shit happens to us. More violent shit, more deadly shit, more shit, period, happens to us than to you. This idea that women are either not protected or that there is some epidemic of women getting killed in the hood or anywhere is bullshit. It's a media fantasy that can be proven with the first Google search. A lightweight Google search. Okay? So again, the allergy to accountability goes back to what Cortez was saying. It goes back to what Truth Teller saying. We treat women like children. We give them the rights and all of that stuff of grown people, but then we rescue them like children. And I've said it before, and I've told, shout out to Black Oru. We gonna do one of these one-on-ones one day. But we need to stop coming to the rescue and humanizing women when they do these types of things. We need to pull back. They're going to continue to do it. We need to fall back. The best of us need to fall back from enabling this sort of behavior, because we're doing ourselves a disservice by saving women from accountability, from other shit, and from the shit that they do to us.
Yes, sir.
You go to any other environment, it does not exist. You go to DR, and as time goes by, as more and more guys from here go to DR, those women slowly become more entitled. I've been down there and I've seen this myself. So if that can exist in that space, with a space that it never existed before, then it's not about the women. They adjust to the environment just like we do. It's about the guys. Stop enabling.
Oh yeah, I do have a question for Keena. She mentioned the dudes with the interesting looking wives on the rich side of the situation. What percentage of those dudes were lame, corny, or unattractive without the bread, and the bread just is there?
So she's gonna answer that question, and then we're out.
So to answer that question, you'd be quite surprised. From what I saw, not a lot of them were corny or would be considered corny or lame without the money.
So they were cool, but they had the pop joint, and they loved the pop joint, and they had the pop joint beforehand. That doesn't make how?
So here's the thing. Some of them I don't know if they had her beforehand. Some of them I don't know if they just got one. I did see it was just that was his type. That's what he liked. So the version of beauty. That is definitely what he liked. He had a history. So I mean, again, to each their own. You do what you do. But I'm just saying, men are men, and some of those interesting men you see with interesting looking women, well, some men with money have interesting looking women too. I'm just gonna leave that.
Okay, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna close it out. Okay, exceptions do not make rules. Dogs. If I say dogs can't talk, it doesn't mean nobody has a talking dog. It means their dog can talk. If I say dogs don't talk, then nobody should say to me, "Wait a minute, not all dogs."
I don't know, man. Them football players got a high percentage of lame in the ranks. Like that's definitely the lame with money capital.
I'm just saying, no,
like
lames is one thing. Another thing is what men are choosing to be lame for. That's what we're talking about, right? But we're gonna close this out before we be here another 10 minutes. I appreciate everybody for coming in here. Rodimus.
Hold on, he said someone forgot KRS-One's first wife. KRS-One is a lame. He's a lame. He's a permanent lame. He'll always be one. You would never see Kane with nobody like that. That's KRS. That's always him. Come on, man.
We gonna say that for the next one. Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat room. Yeah, we're gonna address that KRS in the battle. But shout out to everybody in the chat room. Tice, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the love. Jamil, Cortez, Afro Shop. I don't want to leave out no names. Bushido, Brandy, I see you. Hybrid Ninja Perspective. You know what I'm saying? Constructive Consultant, 318 Showtime, and Dave Tao as usual. Dave Tao is always up in here. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but this was Black Women's Allergy to Accountability. You know, I see you, Rodimus Prime. You brothers forgot KRS's first wife. Y'all talking about Miss Melody? Y'all are fucked up. Anyway, we gonna close this out. Keena, Ian, Mega, Truth Teller, and who jumped out of here? Who we lose? It was somebody else in here with us. I know Tice was with us.
Shane.
And Shane, yeah, Shane. How could I forget Shane? And PK Angel, I see you. Gave me the quick hello. Yo, do me a favor, everybody, including the people on the panel. Click thumbs up on the video on YouTube so we can get this shit in the feed. Appreciate it.
Keep it 100.
Yes, sir. We out of here. 100.
Ladies and gentlemen.